Hello, hello, everybody. Just getting my berry lineage on right now so that I'm not hyper focused on any dryness during this live here, but make sure I'm not screaming into my mic at the same time. But welcome. I know a couple people are going to be joining us here that I read for Leticia, I believe as well, from TikTok Live last night. I'm using today and our beautiful pre-Easter Saturday as a way to make up for the Wednesday that I missed when I was traveling. So I'm excited to hang out with you guys today. If you want to drop and if you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. But my name is Brenna and I'm a human design reader and astrologer of 9 years. If you want to drop just a hello, your big three in human design or astrology in the comments below in the chat so that I can see it. I'll go back and forth looking at my screen here. And then I'm going to do a little bit of psychic intuitive channeling today. I'm going to pull up some music here so that we can also just have a little ambiance at the same time. So let me see. And then if you guys tune in at any point and you've been here before, just drop a little hello or an emoji in the chat so that I can see who is present. Because it doesn't pop up and show me your names like it does on TikTok. So I can't see you unless you say hello. Let me see. What do I want to play? I have my usual playlist for today. Or my YouTube lives, I should say. Here we go. Oh, it's super low. Okay. You know what? I'm actually going to... I think I played it on here last time on my phone so that the audio didn't come up super choppy. I've been playing with that in our Patreon as well. Let me go here. And how Zoom has like the shared settings. If you guys have ever done anything in Zoom, sometimes it can sound like really awkward to play your music through there if you're not sharing the audio. That way we have that over there. What else to do? Oh, I wanted to get my sage too. Have that lit in my sage mug, as a few of you have seen before. But yeah, it's been interesting, and I actually will pull up a chart for the energy of today. I know I had read for the energy of today in Germany, though. For Malia, who's over in our TikTok crew and our YouTube crew here as well, but we're more active, or she's more active as a projector over on our TikTok lives, and also because it's like 1 o'clock in the morning for her right now. But we were talking about the energy of the day as it relates to human design and the transits. And so I'm going to bring up a chart for the energy of tomorrow so that we can get a little bit acquainted and ahead of the curve. And then that way when you guys watch this recording, if you join in tomorrow, excuse me, or watching this recording tomorrow, we can get a little bit ahead of the curve there. So let me share my screen so you guys can see what I'm looking at. There we go. Okay. So this will be, so tomorrow is Sunday. I can do this Sunday, April 20th. Oh, Easter's on 4/20 this year. I didn't even realize that. That's funny. 2025, and then let's see. I think most people, let's see, we'll say, I was going to say 3 a.m., but let's do, I don't know, maybe 12 p.m.? Let's do 12. And then I'll do New York City because I'm an East Coast girl. yeah, I figured we were going to get some manifesting generator vibes. So if we were to make and kind of take a snapshot of the energy for tomorrow, this is what we would be looking at. So if I do this, will it let me? No, it'll minimize that for you. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I could do that. Okay. So if we were to take a snapshot of the energy, I can move myself over here so you guys can see it a little bit easier. Move myself around. There we go. But basically, if we were to personify oh, hi, Lisa. Thank you so much for signing up. I'm excited. Yay. Okay. I'll bring up your chart in a second. But if we were to take a snapshot of the energy that we're looking at here, tomorrow would be personified. If it would be personified, would feel like a manifesting generator. So a manifesting generator with a 5-1 profile. So tomorrow, for those of you who are indulging in an Easter Sunday with family, are probably going to feel, generally speaking, like you're not really as interested to talk about yourself. You just kind of want to be a little bit more introverted, ask other people questions and details. And unless you are catching up with somebody that you haven't seen in a while, that you're interested in connecting with, a cousin, a family member, an aunt, your mom, depending on some of your relationships, we may feel like we want to be around people, but not responsible for having to be the one that holds the full extent of the conversation. Yeah, Lisa, thank you so much. I love the name Lizette. So I will pull that up here. So yeah, I just wanted to start by doing a little snapshot, but I will pull up your chart here so we can see this together and then do this. We can start with you a little early because we're here. I'm so excited. Thank you. Do this, and let me actually, just so I can not show your email or any of that kind of stuff, we'll do this. Okay. Oh, great numerology for your birthday, being born on 11/11. And then the condensing it down to 4 is also really nice. Okay. 35. Sure, okay. Okay, so since we're here and you are so sweet and kind, I am going to pull up your chart and we'll start a little bit earlier. So I'll move myself around here so you can get a better view of your human design body graph. And then this is recorded right away. So after I end the live in an hour or so, it'll go right to YouTube so that you can watch this back again and again, Lisa. So that way you have clear ability to go back and listen to this again and again. So just wanting guidance on where to go with my spiritual work. And I love that you're doing spiritual work, because I don't know if you were on my TikTok live yesterday, but there was a woman that I read for named Danielle. It's about her reading. I posted April 18th, 2025. I posted the video today from my TikTok live readings yesterday, and she is a psychic medium as well. I'm saying as well because your energy indicates, your body graph indicates also psychic mediumship, right? Or your spiritual work in general. And one quality that you actually both have is what's called the Genius Freak channel, channel of explanation in human design. And what's cool, if you look at this, and you may or may not know about this already, is that you're a mental projector, and it's the only channel that you have in your human design body graph. So when you only have one channel, right, that 4323 channel, that gives us even more detail, understanding energy of how impactful that is to your human design. So one of the things that I'm going to do, because your only channel is connected to your incarnation cross in human design, meaning the intersection of these 4 gate placements, is to read to you about your right angle cross of explanation from what's called the Book of Destiny. So I'll make this larger just so that you can see. This is available on Amazon. It's like $15, and it is a deeper dive into all of the 196 incarnation crosses in human design. So what it helps us to do is that when we're talking about spiritual work or like your life theme, especially when we get to between the ages of 38. Oh, yay. Okay, amazing. So this is helpful because I can teach you or kind of like help you to understand the inflection or the importance of some of the words. Because sometimes when we read it alone, and this is how I was taught too, like reading it alone can sound like we get in our own head, right? It's so much harder for us to like see ourselves objectively, where this allows us to be like, oh wait, okay, I can understand this because the way that somebody else shared it, the way that somebody else explained it to me, it helps. So I always like referring back to it again and again. As you may have seen, some funny, cool people that you share your incarnation cross with, Anne Hathaway, Ryan Gosling, Neil Young, Grace Kelly, Whoopi Goldberg, and Prince Charles all have the same life theme and life purpose. I actually just saved Anne Hathaway was at a fashion show and she looks incredible. She's like aging in reverse, and I just saved her like makeup look because I wanna recreate it. So all that to say, if you think about your spiritual work and thinking of guidance in terms of like how you want to either monetize your work or to process the way that you use your spiritual guidance, thinking about it through the lens of what this says, and then we'll come up with some workshopping some ideas. So let me know also, if you don't mind, like, are you thinking of this more so from like a business monetization perspective, or just like working on spiritual gifts in general? Like, are you trying to pick between more than one? The first thing I'll say before I read this too, is to monetize your intellectual property. And so making sure, because whenever you are a mental projector, you're the only person that's allowed to overthink and use your mind, right? Everyone else is trying to use their other energy centers or authority, and not overrule that gut instinct if you're a sacral authority, for example, with your logical minds, but you get to do that. So without further ado, your constant impulse in life is to inform and explain. Sometimes you feel quite attuned to what you are saying, while at other times you and your audience may wonder what on earth you're talking about and question how you know what you're saying. You're people who know a lot of bit about everything. It's not even sometimes a little bit about everything. My web designer who made the beautiful chart that you're looking at right now also has the same incarnation cross as you, but she's actually a Taurus. So what's interesting is that all 4 gates of your incarnation cross here are each another sign or gate placement specifically that are in a sign of a different of the same modality. So as a Scorpio, you're fixed. Gate 23, Taurus suns are a fixed sun gate placement with the same incarnation cross. Then we have Leo and Aquarius too. So just to kind of give you a little cheat sheet and to see some people who you may find you have overlap with, or that you resonate with that in some way. And a lot of what I say, her name's Jacqueline, for Jacqueline and myself, and I've done some mentorship with her. I am currently where I'm mentoring her. And we were talking about the fact that simplifying what you say and like scribbling, if you are in your spiritual work, if you channel, having a specific dedicated notebook that puts you in that headspace where all of your scribing or your scribbling goes, if you do light codes or anything like that, is really helpful to have it in kind of that sacred container and can streamline your train of thought through you're looking at your incarnation cross in this way. So I'd like to monetize at some point. I've had a business last year, but had to stop renting my location. Oh, I'm sorry, due to my mom being in the hospital all of December and I wasn't making enough. Yeah, I'm sorry that had happened. And it's so unfortunate. My dad has also been sick this last year, not consistently in the hospital, but he did a short stint. And so it really had me kind of restructure and say, well, how can I focus on other ways to show up and kind of get like the most bang for my energetic buck, and figuring out like, okay, I know that in person is great, but how can we kind of translate to be online, right? It allows a little bit of like mobility in that way. So figuring out ways, PDFs are really great for you. Also audio messages as a projector, making it really easy for you to have people meet you where you're at. I use a software called Calendly, right, to book the session that you walk through the whole process to pay and book today. I also recommend that to my projectors that are in Patreon. If you were to do like channeling work, for example, what you could do is in the event description, you can write that the date that somebody chooses on your calendar is the date and the time that you would send them an audio message, right? It did help me get things done, website and other systems. I don't regret trying it. Yes, that's amazing. So it's kind of like you have that flow and that system, to your point. And I think that as a projector, I should say, I know as a projector, less is always more. People like to see you as projectors in business as people that are like this beacon that they can go to be really good at one thing, because you see so much of the nuance. It's like a beautiful tapestry that you've created and showed this beautiful curated picture. But then once people hear you speak on your subjects and your spiritual work as, say, like a spiritual guide, you can show them and work through all the tapestry strings behind the scenes, right? So that's a good way to to kind of look at your work and refine your image in that way. A lot of my 4323 people are image conscious in a good way, because it's like, okay, how do I want to position myself? How do I make sure that I am showing myself in my best light? And that's a big, important concern for you. Even if you don't have it figured out right away, that refinement comes through over time. So I didn't want to forget to say those few things. Your gift is to be able to communicate with a wide spectrum of people, and your challenge is to make yourself understood. That's where the less is more comes in. You can be said to have a tendency to blurt things out, and many times find yourself saying things that have little correspondence with the thoughts and expressions of other people. What's really interesting, hi Leticia, how are you? Welcome, welcome. I'm just reading for Lisa right now, and then I'll pour over into you a little bit, and I can practice with both of you if you're both interested to do some channeling, or whoever else is here. I can kind of give me a name or something, and we'll go from there. So about 5 more minutes or so. But all that to say, the blurting things out for you, Lisa, is like so you can capture that lightning in a bottle and you don't forget what you were going to say, because you know at some point it's going to be important. It's just reminding yourself that, like, when you have the container of people knowing that they're coming to you and having you blurt things out, right? Like me on live right now, blurting things out in a sacred container in the lens of human design, a little bit of the psychic witchy stuff, right? At the same time, it can help people to know, like, that's kind of how they can workshop things with you, right? And that's where, like, I love, like, just a beautiful, like, mental projector, women in business, spiritual projectors. Like, it's that ability to just kind of feel like you're like that crazy spiritual scientist, or it's giving like the practical magic house where I can show up and just have fun in that way. So thinking of yourself in that context too can be helpful for your business. Developing the ability to be comfortable in conversation can take practice, especially when you have so many insights that demand expression and explanation. Having multiple outlets to communicate with people is also helpful. Like having the woman I was just mentioning, that I was talking to about that made my website, Jacqueline, we were talking about different outlets for her to share her wisdom and how does that happen. So for example, if you're a spiritual entrepreneur that's looking to grow your spiritual practice online, Lisa, right? Figuring out, well, what's the main thing that I want to share with people? Maybe it's like how to connect with your ancestors, and maybe on YouTube, you do a whole video explaining to people like your process and channeling. And then on TikTok, it could be another version of that, but you would say be showing people how to do like set up an altar space or a mock altar space. I am pro if you're doing anything with altars, not showing people your personal altar, but making one up as kind of like an offering. That's also because I have a lot of Scorpio in my chart. So from a lot of Scorpio moon to Scorpio sun, I can understand that not wanting to be perceived in that way, but that's kind of another way that you can workshop it, and then offer a sale. Maybe you have some anointing oil or some special tincture or something that you put on an altar space. It can be kind of a way that you highlight that, or maybe you show the gift I was giving yesterday as having your, and it's nice to have my phone here since I'm streaming on my computer. If you were to record and didn't want to be on camera, or wanted to just kind of write out or scribe and practice channeling for somebody, or I don't know who needs to hear this, but here's, a message that, or for someone that I'm channeling, you can show your paper and show your scribbles, and then have a way that, finding a way or connecting with a way that makes it really easy for people to book a session with you, maybe via the link in your bio, or you have a little like, announcement about that in your video or something along those lines, where people can recognize your skill set in action. Because as a projector, you just want to make sure that you have multiple outlets to showcase your talent, and have somewhere that's easily set up that you can send people where they can purchase something from you in your spiritual business. So last couple of paragraphs here, I'll read straight through. Your power of expression and your ability to share insights that transform your world are in the sound of your voice as much as in the words you speak. Tonality is an essential part of your communication, and your tone of voice will be most clearly conveyed when you speak in turn and when you are relaxed in yourself. Speaking out of turn and randomly interjecting your insights, especially when feeling inclined to blurt things out, can lead to misunderstandings and alienation. The caveat with that, right, is that when you refine it and you have somebody that's paid to be a part of your, like a session with you, and say you're channeling for somebody, it's like that expectation of not knowing what they're going to blurt out is also there. So instead of like, if you were at, say, you went to church tomorrow and nobody knew that you were like psychic and witchy, and then like in the middle of the ceremony, like you start channeling for somebody that's next to you in the pew, that would be like a negative use of that. Hi Chris, how are you? Welcome, another Scorpio. I'm reading for a beautiful Scorpio right now. So my 2 Scorpios in the group. But yeah, so paying attention to that. To this end, you will find that developing speech skills and a sense of comfort with the sound of your own voice is essential. Timing for when to pronounce or share your insights is also essential. Otherwise, you'll find everyone wondering what in the world you're saying and if they really want or need to pay attention. Remember that what you can say can sound authoritative and unquestionable, leaving people bemused and concerned when what you are saying does not relate to them or your interests, or their interests, You will find that from your very birth, you have had an extraordinary array of insights about life in the universe that do not necessarily match other people's beliefs and understandings. Rendering insights into language has always been and will always be a challenge unless you are able to develop effective speech skills. It is as though your mind registers a sound that might also be an image, and your great work is to translate that sound, image, insight into something that relates to other people in a way that they can appreciate. Sometimes this translation might seem impossible, and you might be tempted to remain silent rather than to try to express what cannot be said. It is not that your insights are incorrect, they are instead different, novel, and potentially revelatory to other people. Like, do people want to go there or not? Trust your energy type and authority to know when your audience is ready to listen, and you will find the means to communicate these amazing insights that are continuously seeking expression through you. And this is where, if we kind of like do a little bit of a recap before I pivot over here into practicing some channeling, right? Focusing on different ways that you can share your insights so people can hear your voice. When you only have your head center and your throat center defined, that's where your primary energy is running through, very top heavy, right? You're really aware and feel kind of like the somatic energy of everyone else around you because your lower chakras or energy centers are so much more open than we have up here. So this tells me that if you're going to use an energy center most effectively, instead of the sacral, like a generator that's hustling and grinding and pushing yourself, you want to focus on using the power of your voice because that's where your energy is most naturally held. So you can set up and sit, in a space like I do, right? And channel and practice and guide using your voice for people, whether or not you want to be on screen, and that being an offering that you have to monetize what you do, right? Like, even if you set up the same thing of doing like a YouTube live, the nice part about YouTube live instead of TikTok is that I don't believe you have to have a cap on. There's no like cap for or minimum that you have to hit for subscribers on here to be able to go live. So if you do, it's like very low, but I don't believe that that's the same. I know it's not the same case, at least with like the 800 or what have you, that they had for TikTok live, but that can be an example. I am also so pro audio message, like wisdom, knowledge drop insights, and monetizing those for projectors because it's such an easy way for you to be able to give so easily and let your train of thought flow. I actually have my own mentor that's a projector that will be walking around. She's not a human design mentor, but just kind of like my spiritual therapist, if you will, who's also a 1-3, but a splenic projector. And she'll walk around in the woods. She lives in upstate New York, and send me like audio messages or things through audio message that can be helpful. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, Lisa. So that helps so much. So 50 subs. I don't know if you're at 50 subs yet, or if you guys who are here, Leticia and Chris, who have been with me for a while over on TikTok, if you're interested in psychic mediumship, you could go ahead and give Lisa a follow to help get her to that 50. But that way, you can grow that space for you too, or just practice that, or, figure out ways to share your voice in that way. I think like if you think about TikTok or Instagram and the people that have done like tarot readings using their voice and kind of doing that. Oh, I love that. Okay, yeah. So this is Hudson Valley. So in the Kingston area, if you're familiar. So that's so funny. I love that. Like kind of walking around in that area, just knowing upstate New York. It's a funny, cool synchronicity. So more affirmation for you there. But doing something like that, we're thinking about like at the end of the day, with this type of work, it's supposed to be fun for us, right? It's not supposed to be another source of stress or discomfort or figuring out like, oh my God, like I know I have this calling, but like, okay, let me figure out how to play the system, but let me make it hard for myself because it must not be valid if it's hard. And that's where we have to kind of know the rules so we can, play the game, but also like know the rules so we can break them when it comes to things like this. So if you're looking to have like your business primarily online, then we say, okay, well, I have free portals like YouTube or Instagram or whatever, starting off even with one portal of choice, like YouTube, for example. Shorts and finding that balance, right? Yeah, there you go. Shorts and finding that balance can be a good way to do that. So, oh, that's so funny. Kim Russo, yes, I love her. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. I didn't know she was in Kingston. That's so cool. I'm about like 2 hours from there. So there you go. Yeah, that's so cool. Having that ability to like see what she's doing, right? I was just watching the Real Housewives of New York reruns not that long ago, and I think it was Carol Radziwill had her up there like on the show. So like doing things like that too. I would think I would offer the ability to see like, okay, what did you like about it in person, Lisa? And then transitioning to online, what are kind of like the same types? Do you like the way that I have my setup and doing being online, in this way and sharing your insights that way as a projector, having some sort of monetization, a way for people to buy readings from you or PDFs from you. And then I just love to hear projectors jam on whatever it is that they love to talk about. So even if you do some sort of like stream of conscious posting or like a 5-minute channeling, like it's a great way for people to kind of see you in action. Danielle Vargas, who is a medium that was on, as Leticia knows, and Chris as well, last night from TikTok. She has great examples of like just sharing her work that she's already done and sharing her channeling for other people, which is also another way to kind of monetize that as well for you. So growing in your spiritual business in that way. So let me know if you have any other questions after that, if that struck anything else in you. That's so cool, like the synchronicities of the two projectors, right, that are in that kind of spiritual space, yourself included. In my upstate New York projectors. My web designer Jacqueline is also in upstate New York, and the projector I was referencing earlier. So we have that trio of or that triad, so to speak, up in that area. So it's a very magical place to be, and I think there's so many cool opportunities, just like being in such a the East Coast of the U.S. having such all the U.S. unfortunate and interesting history simultaneously in the overlap, but the land just feels so wise is the best way that I can describe it. I'm a big walking in the woods kind of girl, if you haven't guessed already, but I think just having that, being in the woods, filming outside maybe as a projector too, can be something that helps. So yeah, I'm going to actually practice simultaneously and do a little transition into some of my own mediumship stuff, so you can kind of see this side of me that I share a little bit more. And that's just like a free thing as I'm practicing. For anyone that wants a human design reading, you know where the link is. And I was saying to Leticia Laura here yesterday that we were going to try to continue on because it was cool. Is that when we were, yeah, right. I love that. It's helpful. And thinking about like, how do you incorporate the woodsy elements? Maybe you do mantras or affirmations for people that work inside and want to bring the woods inside, or like do subliminals for people, or like custom meditations for them, or hypnotherapy tracks or something like that, right? That can also be another way to capture your voice, right? We want to figure out like, how do we use the voice? But for Leticia, right, it was funny because when I was reading for her yesterday, and Leticia, your reading is up on YouTube now as of this afternoon, but we were talking about your cat Jupiter, and I went right to your Jupiter placement in human design. I can actually bring up your chart as we are chatting here. And you're gate 59. And so then there's me in the middle of nowhere. Yes. So are you in the same state that you were born in? Are you in Nebraska? The only person that I ever have associated with Nebraska is Aunt Becky from Full House. She was originally from Nebraska, her character. But I was thinking about you as I was home with my fur baby all day today, and we were hanging out and getting some things done around the house on the Saturn day. I mean, even so, it was really interesting. Like, I had gone out to, and Chris is from out closer to you than you guys are to me here in Utah. but you can feel like, just in terms of like energetics of the land. And I think that's also something interesting, Lisa, like to think about, like energetics of the land. Like I could feel the pioneer versus native energy there. Like it's so quiet, but the land in like the Midwest and like the western side of the US feels so kind of like heavy, like you know that things happened there, you know that there was some energy there. Yes, Utah. And it's like you can just, that presence is very overwhelming. So it's kind of like it was weird, like when I was in Denver, and this also brings in the question of like astrocartography, right? Yeah. Astrocartography, like I don't have any planetary lines that run through there. Yes. So I could feel the chargedness of it, but it was like I felt kind of like not even nervous, but just kind of like antsy. And then I was like, it's really quiet, but like, where do I go? Like, where do I go? Like, where are we going? Like, it feels like things should be more active and busy here. And I think just feeling that, oh my gosh. So you know what is so crazy that you just said Carney is that, or I don't know if it's pronounced that way, but that's the way that, my family had pronounced it. That's my grandmother who passed. That's her maiden name. So I never have heard of any other, like, I've never met another Carney unless they were related to me. I know Kearney, I think is another way that people would pronounce it, but Carney and the exact same spelling, is in that area. So, oh wow. So it's a cool, another synchronicity. I live 10 minutes away from where Sullivan slaughtered the Native Americans during the Revolution. Oh my gosh, it's very heavy there. Yes, absolutely. You can just feel that, like, I think there's such a calling. One of my favorite astrologers that's actually has a big platform here, her name is Pam Gregory. She's a British woman. I love her work. She's a double Pisces sun, Pisces rising. And she posts about astrology. And she was talking about, I think it was Uranus. Let me bring up the ephemeris, actually. Let me do that over here. Just to see, it was either Gemini or Taurus in Uranus. Let me see. That was adding back, and that what you had said about like being really aware of the land. So Leticia also, like in me kind of going in this like active psychic meditation for you, thinking about like what is happening in your land. Like I don't know if you've been thinking of gardening or if you've been processing like doing like just wanting to do things outdoors. But that's important. Yeah, Uranus, because it's like disruption in the land and going back to honoring the land. Yeah, and that's the connections that I make. Yes, there you go. Yes. So finding that like finding that red thread, right? I love that. And I think like it's even more like my favorite people that I like to follow that are psychics or mediums. There's a woman that does tarot card readings. I think her first name is Brooke. I just found her not that long ago, but she'll do like be walking through the land, and then she'll say like pick an element like earth, fire, air, or water, and then she'll do like a reading as she's walking for people. So I also feel like for you, Leticia, like doing something along those lines. And it's interesting because you also feel like, just to kind of channel for you for a second, even more deeply, or as I scribble here, that like there's some sort of disconnect between like your heritage and background, or there's been like an extra yearning to like either know like your ancestors more deeply. I don't know if like ravens or crows or like cauldrons mean anything to you. But I don't like spirit animals, animal totems. I don't know the proper vernacular for that. I want to look that up just so I can, what the ethical terminology is for that, because I think spirit animals is not the like, I mean, using it in the sense of like Ryan Gosling is my spirit animal versus like, oh no, or animals, that's like my totem, right, is different. I need to garden. Okay. Yeah. And thinking about like maybe planting some specific flowers that are representative of like any, like if you have an iris in your life, if you had a jasmine, if you had a rosa, like anyone that you can plant flowers to kind of honor your ancestors. There was somebody else that I had that had a grandmother that gardened a lot. And it's interesting because tomorrow is Easter and it's 420 and we're talking about like, like gardening in that way, right? Yeah, I can do that. It's wild. Okay, I love that. That's amazing. Yes. Okay. I love that. I feel like it's and I don't know if stars are like a 7-pointed star, Star of Bethlehem. It just feels like you had people like I assume, and I know this isn't totally obscure, but like you had like a lot of maybe Catholicism in your background as well. Maybe some like conflicts of like, now that this person has passed over and I know that I can talk to them, I don't know if it feels disrespectful for me to practice what I do or practice in the way that I do. It's because I've been finding a lot of people recently. Birds. Okay, birds everywhere too. Yes. Yes. I love that. Even, I don't know if you have crows in Nebraska or ravens, right? But maybe even putting out like little birdseed or trinkets, something that kind of you have that space. I don't know if hummingbirds also, I'm like getting kind of like the visual of like little hummingbirds. It's giving like you want to be, the more you're in your garden, the more you can become like kind of a Snow White figure. There's something about like, I feel very much so giving back to the land, like tending to the land. I don't know if you've been thinking about like homesteading and like being more introverted, following that too. Yeah, hi Nini, it's good to see you. Hi, happy Sabbath. Yes. Herbs, I'm a Hex Girl. Okay, I love that. I just seen a car that literally says Hex Girl on the license plate. That's where my message is on car plates. Oh, that's so cool. How cool would it be? Oh my gosh, I just had like a visual. If you were to do like on Instagram, or like if you were to share like a faceless, yeah, all the gardening. If you were to, oh, I love that. So you can plant like all of your herbs. And then even if you made like little cool like vials to like send people, or how cool would it be if you did like, since you see license plates, like, as I'm driving, I could totally see, oh, I love that. I love that. Maybe a reflection, but I was thinking about, if you made like car air fresheners, but they're not actually like full air fresheners that have to scent, but like protective, like, spells. So yeah, my husband is still very Catholic. Yeah. Does that like, are you figuring out that balance too? It's so interesting because of like, I think of like how we go to, I began to feel like an abomination. Yeah. But I think of like, what's in Catholicism, I just started saying in my head the like Hail Mary, full of grace, prayer. But there's, like when we take communion, it's like the blood and body of Christ, right? Like the wafers and drinking the wine. So it's like, it's so ritualistic that it's funny to think that for me with spirituality, right? Like how I've always explained it to people who are more religious is thinking about it in terms of like, well, if God gave me these plants and these herbs to put together with the intention of working with love and light, right, in some way, shape, or form, then what does that look like? And I think of like, and I don't know, like I feel like hexing can fall on a spectrum too, where I've seen people use that word and terminology for like light and dark magic, but like figuring out where you kind of fall on that spectrum for yourself, right? Yeah, I'm so glad. Okay, cool. Thank you. So helping me in my witchy confidence. But you know what I pictured is like these little like maybe it's like they're like Castillo cauldrons or something like that. Like I love alliteration, obviously, for like Human Design Hotline. And I was looking at my own kind of little cauldron-esque icons that I have, but it's like if you kind of made them where people can even like they can buy refillable herb packets, like I love that. But how cool, like you can make compilations like on Instagram or carousels rather of like 10 images of camera roll footage that you've taken, the ones that you want to share, right? I know some camera roll things are sacred, and you can write or just post those kinds of things and write how like you saw this, it reminded you of like channeling or like a spell or herbs that people can put to protect them if they drive long distances, for example, and like kind of sell them that way, right? Like that would be kind of fun. Yeah, I've learned to embrace the energy, specifically the feminine. I love that. And yeah, maybe it's like different herbs that you can make. Like, how cool would it be if you had these like empty cauldrons and like people like that you hung them as air fresheners, and people could be like, okay, if you're driving to your first date, here's the herbs that myself as Leticia. Thank you for the subscribe. I appreciate that, Vogel. Thank you. Do you like my little graphic that I have? That's the helpful Streamlabs. Thank you so much. But if you put like, okay, you're going on your first date, here's like rose that you could use, right? Like, and put that in the cauldron. And these are the rose petals that I dried and made in my garden. And we're getting back to like a lot of what Pisces, Saturn and Pisces has taught us before it goes into Aries, but also Pluto and Aquarius is like, I would rather buy my herbs from like the local apothecary or the Botanica that's up the street from me, that I'm involved with, that like supporting you as Leticia. When your business is up and running, let us know, because I know about 10 people that would buy herbs from you, right? Like, those are the people that we want to support, right? Or like Lisa, or and Lisa being able to do her audio messages and things like that. And we're going back to like almost like OG community, right? Or OG like ways of living, but now we have the blessing of the internet to connect us, otherwise I don't have any reason or knowledge to be in Nebraska, but now I do because we're connected, right? Or you maybe for Pennsylvania for the same reason. So it's cool. Yeah, I definitely don't want to be a hexer, lol, but it was funny to see that. Yeah, to see that as we were talking. Yes, absolutely. It's very much a ritual. The priest channels and the spirit of Christ into the blood, and the blood bread making the body and the blood. Yes, absolutely. And I think there's like so many cool correlations. Like a lot of and you guys may have seen this in your lines of TikTok as well, or your veins of TikTok, but like there's a lot of astrology, or just kind of like a repeat wave of the last 4 years. Yeah, I mean, I think we know that whether ChatGPT tells you that or not at this point, right? Like we know that you're on that, girl. It's just a matter of getting other people to see that, right? I had a really great client, I forget her name, and it was the only time that we had met in person, and she was with me on her lunch break, and she lived, I believe it was in Arkansas. She was out in that area of the world, closer to your area of the world. And, she had just opened a yoga studio, she originally tried to open during COVID and it closed, and then she opened it again recently. Also, she's a projector. But yeah, it was like kind of coming back to the things that you started to think about in COVID. And then like, how can we highlight you being a walking oracle now, right? Like, what does that look like? So I think just kind of thinking about, I love the cauldron idea for you. And what's interesting is that since there's so much of a tie to your animal, your spirit animal, that your fur baby that is crossed over to the other side of Jupiter, like maybe there's like specific Jupiter like based tinctures or tinctures, or it's funny because it keeps saying tinctures, but I picture dry herbs, so I don't know what that means, but that's what I keep saying versus what my mind is showing me, or my mind's eye, the clairvoyance part of me, is like working with your Jupiter placement and finding that balance in maybe astrology or something. When we went to eat for my son's 16th birthday, they served as dessert in a mini cauldron. Oh my gosh, my daughter brought it home with us. That's so funny. Yes. I know, I literally keep picturing like drawing this like cauldron or like a little like clay pot. And like, they don't have to be large, right? Like they could be something that's small. But even if you got like an air dried clay, or like Crayola makes like the air dry clay, like, and you can, how people have been making like fridge magnets with it or something along those lines. Like those types of things are really cute. So I feel like just having that kind of thing is cool to look at. Even, I don't know why I'm also picturing like a chimenea, or if you do something with like a lot of fire, but I was like, it just kind of brought me back into this visual of like extending the neck of the cauldron, or maybe you teach people how to do like, I don't know, like backyard witchcraft, in their fire. It's like 80 degrees outside. I have my slider door open. And I live in the mountains in Appalachia. And so I have like a very woodsy area here. And it's so crazy, like how daytime to nighttime, it's like different energy. And so I just kind of had that visual of like, maybe you doing something along those lines too, where like, if you were to share, like from a content perspective, something along those lines, or like packets for what people can burn in their backyard to keep what I'll say, or the nickname for them is the flesh pedestrians away, right? Like it feels like, I I don't know if you guys have watched on Netflix. I mean, I grew up on like OG Unsolved Mysteries. I love Unsolved Mysteries. Dennis Farina was the guy who took over for the OG guy on Lifetime. It was Channel 39. And now Netflix brought it back. And there was an episode in the first season that they redid, and it was out in a Native American First Nations community out west, and how they would talk about like the different things that kind of walk there. So he literally came to tell me immediately that he passed. I just didn't understand it then. Oh my gosh, wait, was there? Yeah, who was he? Literally came to tell me immediately that he passed. Oh, this was Jupiter, or I don't know if there was a comment that got removed. Also, 44 has been a big angel number. It's 44. I can't believe I've been talking for 44 minutes already. 44, like that, fours, a lot of fours. Lisa, having your 11, being born in 11/11, condensing to 4 fours have been very big. So I don't know if that resonates as well. Right? Unsolved Mysteries is so good. Literally, YouTube has, like, if you go and look up, like, Unsolved Mysteries, in general, or like Unsolved Mysteries, like Lifetime or something like that, you can go back and watch the reruns again and again. And I also love a big thing that I've been binging. There's this channel called Nightmare Feelings, and they do like the 6 most disturbing. Their videos are all called the same thing. It's like the 6 most disturbing, like, camping gone wrong videos caught on camera or something like that. It's always the number 6 and the word disturbing in like capital letters. That's also been really good. So if you guys are like that kind of stuff. And then Chilling Scares is also one that we really like in our household. And if you like more like narrated compilations that are shorter clips, like for stuff on TikTok, there's a guy that does, it's called Slap Tam, which sounds kind of sus, but it's also a really good YouTube channel too. It's not as provocative as it may sound, right? Get my lip gloss. But that's another good one too. But I'll pause here just to say, if anyone does want a reading from me, $12, 10 minutes, the link is in my bio to that. But I am practicing some channeling in the meantime. So if you guys also are interested through the portal that I'm streaming from called Streamlabs, there is like a little tip jar. So if you guys ever want to use that, that's there as well. So thank you. Oh, Jupiter. Yeah. I know, the poor the kitty. I know, that's so cute. He came to tell you immediately that he passed. I just didn't understand it then. That's so crazy. How did he? I mean, as much as you can share, but I would love to hear that story of like how he like came to you. If it was like in a dream, or like what did that look like? You know, or like how did he do that? My grandmother. So my grandfather. I had 2 grandfathers that both died of complications from alcoholism. My name's Brenda Keeley, Irish, so the statistic still rings true there. And my one grandfather was an Aries. He loved art. He would have been a graphic designer if that, computers existed the way that they did when he was in college. He actually got a full ride to Syracuse University because he was a really amazing football player, and then he got drafted into World War II. And so he died when my mom was in her senior year of college. So my mom was 21 when he passed away. And both my grandmother and my mom had like specific dreams about like him coming to visit them. And like my mom has a lot of like where spirits have come to her. My mom's a Scorpio sun. Come to her in dreams. So yeah, I would love that, Leticia. Please do. I think you have, I'm going to download, so your email, since you got a reading from me yesterday, it'll update into my system. So I can send you an email, or you'll see an email from me over like the next week that comes from my like Flowdesk like email subscription thing. I send about like one email like every week, like every other week, with like updates and things like that. So my email's there too. I just don't write it or say it here because I never know who's going to see these videos on the internet, and I don't want to have everyone to have access to my email that can use it for nefarious purposes. I'll be getting like random like requests from some fake PayPal account to pay for, this rich person that lives in Morocco that wants to send me money or something like that. But yeah. Oh, my dad died October 2023, and 2 weeks after he passed, I was sitting here watching TV and I saw a huge golden white orb. Oh my gosh. Oh, I just got chills. About 3 feet to the right of the TV, at least 4 feet around. Oh, that's amazing. I literally have chills. Whenever I get chills on both sides of my body, it's usually your spirits coming through. If it's just the left side, it's like my psychic affirmation of truth or just my guides. But that's so beautiful. I saw actually my grandfather that I was just talking about, at my grandmother's house. She had an elevated ranch style house, and when you walked into like the formal living room, and then when you were looking straight ahead, there was like a half wall that was had like decorative rocks, and then there were two kind of like supportive beams, so like that was the hallway going back and forth. And so I was 5, and he died. My mom had me when she was 28, so during her nodal return. And, or nodal opposition, I always confuse the two. But we were leaving my grandmother's bedroom to go to the den, or like the informal living room, to watch TV. And when we walked, we walked through the doorway. And as I went from the first pillar to the second pillar, I saw my grandfather, like, it was like he was floating on like a cloud. Like it was kind of hazy around his feet. And he was like bright white, and I was like so spooked. And my grandmother would lay on her side, and we called it the curve, where like I would put a pillow up against her butt and then like lean into it and cuddle with her that way on the couch. And I was like staring down that hallway like all night, because where I was in the couch was like that line of sight. And so I always was freaked out because I was so little and didn't really know like how to handle that. And I was like, oh, well, that's how we should have known that we were psychic, right? Like those things we experience as kids, and kids I think we're all open to it. It's just a matter of like societal nature and nurture and personal nature and nurture to bring us back to what we know. Oh, but let's see. Yeah, he was hit by a car. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's so awful. Next day, I seen blood spot on the road. As I did a U-turn, I was leaving for work. By the time I got to the corner, a car came by, and my thought was, dear God, like, please no. Oh, I drove 3 blocks. At the stoplight, a car did a U-turn in front of me 2 more times. That day, someone did a U-turn in front of me. Oh my gosh. Being 121. And that's my mother-in-law's birthday, 121. Oh my gosh. So it was like all of these signs. That's so crazy. That's insane. That 121. And he was like telling like, Mom, like go back. Aw, that's so terrible. Like I feel like I can't stand that. And it's so crazy because I literally said yesterday, I think this was before, I don't even know if you said that he was hit by a car. Oh, Chris, yay. I see that. Thank you so much. But like, I can't handle seeing animals like that. Like, it gets me so upset, especially around here. Like, I have wild turkeys that walk through my yard, and deer, of course, which is really common. But we had a bobcat, too, that we had seen. Yeah, it's just, like, and I'm not, like, a slow driver by any means, but, like, I am so hyper aware of animals like that, where I'm like, oh, God, no. Like, I'd rather be person. It sounds terrible, but I'm like, no. I'm like, that person probably did something to deserve it, God forbid. But never an animal. Like, my heart just drops. Oh. Yeah. I'm so sorry that happened. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay. And I see, Chris, you booked for 8 o'clock, but I'll bring up your chart now. I know our animals, it's so funny because, so I had a dog that was, he was a Rhodesian Ridgeback. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with, Rhodesian Ridgebacks, but they're they're a large dog. And so let me do this so I actually doesn't pop up. There you go. They're African hunting dogs, and they're called Ridgebacks because they have this like reverse ridge that runs up their spine. And Shane was his name. And after he passed, we had him since I was like 5, and he passed when I was a sophomore in high school. And I could still feel his, like, how he had like he was like a leaner, like he would come up and lean onto your legs, and I would like feel his like leaning like onto my, like into my legs, or like that like false sense, or like randomly feel like I could smell him or like hear his bark or something like that. And I really think that animals stay around, like like they're loved ones, they're members of our family. So it's like they really are like spirit guides that visit us just like our human family at the same time. Yeah, it's crazy you said that because my visit today, I do foster visit supervision, and she mentioned how it felt like in her sleep someone was laying behind her. Oh my gosh, yes, there you go. So it's like even more so like that, like leaning, and maybe somebody did that. Like, I wonder if like if it is, if respectable enough, or if you're able to, if she had like a child that passed, or like somebody, like maybe even when people have like miscarriages too, because I was told through my psychic medium that one of the psychic mediums that I had seen named Gina, that it's a little dark, that when we pass over, we can choose like the age that we show up as. So even if if people have twins that died or passed away, that people can come through, and basically on the other side, like they change their age. So yeah, the man who found him, they knew him as Detective Sunshine. They thought he was a stray. Oh, he found him at 8:38 and recognized him. He buried him in his yard as he was special to them as well. Oh, that's so sweet. That's so nice. Oh my God, the curio cabinet in his house, the words Jupiter Lead Company. Oh my God. What are chances that? And Jupiter Lead, like Jupiter Lead out of all names, like the fact that it's like Jupiter led him to find him. And 8, the number of abundance too, like Jupiter energy. That's so sweet. Aww. And it's like, it's funny because I wanted to say Leo energy, or did he have Leo energy or something to do with August too? Oh, Nini, I mean, I can imagine. So in human design, and then 4 minutes, and then I'm pivoting over to Chris, who booked for 8 p.m. Eastern at 7:56 right now, just to know. Oh, Leticia, I can totally imagine that. Anyone that has like your head centers activated in some way, or like the clairsentience, but clairvoyance too. I always feel like that. In human design, the reincarnation aspect of souls believes that like your soul implants in the body only 88 days before you're born, or about 3 months before you're born. So from a human design perspective, like if you like did go through something like that, right, or somebody that you know, it would like kind of be a timing thing. I think that like regardless, and it's so interesting. Like, so my mom actually had a miscarriage before, in between my brother and I, and the baby was like, I think my mom was like somewhere between 4 to 5 months, like not very large, but like, oh, it's her son's, there you go. Oh my God. And so what's interesting is that my brother has bipolar disorder, and there's also this picture in our bathroom that's like, it's a very specific like antique picture, and and it's funny because I was thinking of this when I was telling the story about my grandfather, and it says like September. It's always like with a big floral decoration. I'll try to find it, and like I'll have to show you guys it if I remember. I'll try to do it on this live and share my screen. I'm pointing to my other monitor here, and in the bottom, there's like like 2 babies, one that looks like me as a baby and looks like my brother as a baby, and then a third baby that's like on the ground, and it's the brother that looks like my baby is kind of like coming out of the baby that's like laying in this hay pile. And one of the dreams that my mom had about my grandfather is that he was a farmer, and he was like raking through like hay in a field. And so it was like all these kind of crazy synchronicities. And so it wasn't the exact same case, Nini, but like miscarriages too. So crazy. Yeah, I believe it. Yes, the pictures. Yes. I'm so excited to see that too. But yeah, it's like, I think that my belief too is that I don't necessarily believe in like, I believe in reincarnation, but I don't think that it's like one body to one body. I think that if somebody had like a more sudden passing or violent passing, and it was very quick and abrupt, that's where we can get the kids and things like Unsolved Mysteries, where they'll be like, well, my last lifetime I had black hair, like I was a woman that had black hair or something like that. And I think that there's heavier dials that are turned up on some parts of people's souls, right? Because it's like, I know that like I've always felt different elements of my past life, but like my current soul now is like different fragments of like unfinished lore that happened in multiple past lifetimes that created my soul to put me all together in my cells in this way, in this body. to like carry out different things through this one lifetime that I have now, right? So it's like, it's interesting to kind of see that. And even just like from like, it's like energy, it's like nothing can be created nor destroyed, right? Yeah. And I think it's the one thing that's felt like it resonated the most, instead of just like one body for one soul sort of thing. Yeah. So it's interesting to see like how that has, like, the more that I learned and the more that I researched, like from the human design lens of incarnation. Yeah. It's not like only one previous for some. Yes. Yes. And it's interesting. I think like, if we look at astrology, like I wonder if statistically we could see like, do more Pisces dominant people say that than like Aries people? I get a lot of like Aries people with a lot of Aries and Pisces that I have seen with my reflectors, or heavily like aspected houses with their like if somebody has a lot of Virgo but empty Pisces across from it, that there's an interplay there, even if there's not a lot of planets, are like reflectors. So yeah, I'll read that in a second, Leticia. I'm just going to pivot over to pour into Chris here, another beautiful Scorpio, or she's a handsome Scorpio in our crew here. Just kind of coming, he wanted to say, what did you say specifically? What you wanted to see what's coming through, right? Or just kind of what comes through, whatever's coming up. The first thing that I gravitated towards actually was the 43 or the 4426 channel that you have here in your body graph. I want to see if I could put both your personality sun, because this gate here, gate 44, is your personality sun. Actually, I posted my gate 27 deep dive today. But the next video that's coming out is going to be a gate 44 deep dive in the series. And that was thanks to Nini, who's here. She gave me the idea to go ahead and look at that. And what's interesting, and kind of like channeling it when I'm looking at your chart, Chris, is that gate 44, you have it in more than one placement in your human design body graph. Your Venus, gate 44, is conjunct your Sun, gate 44, gate 1 and gate 2 being in the first line and the second line. So they don't share the exact same degree, but they're pretty close there. They're like, maybe it's the same degree, but like a couple minutes later. In astrology, when you're looking and you see on any website, if it says it'll say the degree and then the minutes after that, 1 or 0 through 60 essentially. So gate 44, right, sits, I'm kind of giving you a precursor, but more so through the lens of your placements, Chris, as a projector. Gate 44 sits in the spleen center, and you have a very active spleen center. There's all but 2 gates that are lit up there. And the spleen center is our oldest energy center. It has to do with our intuition, our primal instincts, and fears. That's why a lot of Scorpio, gate 28, 50, and 44 are all Scorpio gate placements. Gate 50 is also shared with Libra placements. So late degree Libra, very early degree Scorpio placements. That's your Uranus as well. But gate 44 gives that Scorpio magnetism of being like a seer that's able to like go deep right away. And so when you also have that on top of being a projector, we see like this ability I think of like the That's So Raven, or like a not a magnifying glass. What's a like spy glass? What's the thing that pirates have when they're looking at thank you. When they're looking at like a ship, it's like I want to say it's called the spyglass. Let me think of the term. Monocular. I guess it's like binoculars, but it's just a telescope. Yeah, telescope, pirate telescope. I'm like looking. What are they called? That's funny. Spyglass, glass, or telescope, also nicknamed the Bring 'em Closer. And it's interesting because it's funny that just came up and Bring 'em Closer, because what I was thinking about is what you shared last time, and having your Venus also be gate 44, which is your values. It's like finding people. There's 4 people in here right now. Again, more 44s coming up today. Finding people that share the same values as you. So I can imagine, because of like where you live and where you were born and being somebody that watches Unsolved Mysteries, that's like in my projector Patreon, that likes human design, that likes witchy stuff, ghosts and all that kind of stuff, that it definitely probably feels like a conflict of interest. And so probably a little bit isolating, if I can imagine, like in your corner of the world, to find like people who believe or like share interests in the same things, right? So how are you able to allow yourself some sort of sacred container around the things that you value? And maybe like not everybody in your life has to know about these interests as well. And that it's okay for people with Scorpio Venuses especially to have some sort of like private time or privacy that surrounds your interests, right? Like certain things that you just do alone, right? Places that you can go, whether alone or with a group of people that like, you know, maybe not everybody goes there with you. You can go and be a part of like a certain like witchy spiritual community or something like that. And so trying to find places or like alternative realms. It's funny because I keep like, online is amazing, right? Where it connects us. Like we're all in all different corners and time zones of the world. Sometimes I'm talking to Trick, who's here or will be here sometimes in Australia, right? And we're already into tomorrow. And like, it's like talking to people in the future, which is very accurate for a 4-1 profile. But projectors too, right? Like you have this ability to connect with so many different people around the world. But I feel like there's some element of, building connections in person that's really sacred to you. And that could also just be like being raised in like a very like Latter-day Saints LDS like heavy area of the world. Oh yes, enjoy. Thank you so much. It's good to see you. King of Kings was the name of my first church in preschool. So more synchronicities. Thank you so much. It was so good to see you. Enjoy. Happy Easter. Yeah, I was going to say private time. Yeah, and I think because of like, especially Scorpio projectors, like you're used to just picking up on so much and like having such an active family, right? And younger family or like, and having like just a spectrum of ages and people and a lot of energy. You really do need that time to like be completely removed and away from everybody else. Like it's okay to be selfish in that way, right? Where not everybody has to share everything. I also don't know if the number 26, I keep seeing if 26 means something to you, but that also, and 6, yeah, condenses to 8 also, if 8s also have a numerological meaning for you. But considering those numbers too, I would say, who are the people instinctively, like even if it doesn't make logical sense for you to go to like drive in one area, what are the things and the people and places that are coming up that for you that even if it doesn't make logical sense to connect with them, how can you kind of let the world, the universe, God, whatever you want to say, surprise you in that way? Like what feels like it would be a good connecting factor for you? It feels like there's some sort of like maybe potential like introverted fear that you can have, especially when you have like so many things here, or activations, I should say, more eloquently put than things, things being gates activated in your chart. Gate 18, if we go around and kind of talk about the fears here, gate 18 is having a fear of authority. And it's interesting because when we look at this from a religious context, it's like a big fear that like, if you don't do this, you are going to be ostracized. If you don't do this, like you're going to hell. If you don't do this, those are things that can happen that are placed on us, right? When we grow up, and I grew up in my late teens and early 20s in a born again Christian church. So there was a lot of that, very similar to, I don't know, Presbyterian, but like almost like more like Baptist leaning, right? If I had to describe it. And so there was a big, I always appreciated respect being at the forefront of it, but like I felt a lot in that time in my life, like it was a lot of a do as I say, not as I do. And like the whole not recognizing the plank in our own eye sort of thing. Also a lot of 8s, 808 right now in my time. So noticing and paying attention to your fear of authority, but also as it relates to your gate 32 and your fear of being your most successful self. And I think that if I had to guess intuitively, that there is a fear or the way that you are raised being too much leaning on other people. Although I feel like there is a lot of pressure on you also as like a provider, like head of household, right? Like you need to have something that is your own. And maybe there's a little bit of a conflict of like, but my authority figures, been in our home for 26 years and been talking about moving into something bigger, lots of fear. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations. That's such a beautiful blessing. Happy 26th anniversary. But yeah, I feel like it's, gate 28 and leaning on that during this time, gate of the game player, it's your Mars, that Scorpio Mars that you have of like, okay, I know that when we talk about moving somewhere new, right? Moving somewhere that may be a little bit more expensive. It's just getting yourself, especially as a projector, as informed as possible, or getting yourself as much data as possible to say, okay, I know that there's a game that banks play, that, you know, there's bidding wars and things like that. People who, I think that, you know, it's going to be more of a buyer's market right now because of what, you know, is going to happen with the effects we see with tariffs and a lot of like change with the current administration. Like there's a lot of, I think you can buy more land and property and space. It's interesting that I said land instead of square footage in a home, maybe wanting a little bit more acreage too. Not just square footage, but, waiting maybe a couple more months and seeing like who is selling and maybe who are people who are downsizing, or they have kids that are older that are, you know, in high school or going to college, or going away or going on a mission or something like that. So like the family's selling the house, right? It's so funny because so much that I know of like Utah, Salt Lake City is because of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So I'm like, yeah, I know that people go on missions and stuff like that too. And my dad was always the person that, when we would have like missionaries that would come to our door, my dad would sit and, as a Virgo, would chat with them for a while. We had Mormons are sitting on our front porch for quite a few points in times throughout the spring. But all that to say, right, when it comes to those placements, and I gave this tip yesterday, and I don't know if you were on for it, but for gate 32, it's fear of being successful at anything, right? Because you energetically and your carnal body, your mind, right, is predisposed to keep you safe. And so in that aspect, it is writing down all of the fears that you have into moving into a bigger home, and say, okay, well, if I have this logical fear of like, okay, if we move into this bigger home, the mortgage goes up $500 to $1,000, we have to figure out where that money's going to come from. And that's totally valid. Writing it down, a problem written down is a problem half solved. But then thinking about, okay, is it that you know, I know I'm getting a raise at this point in time for work. So, and we'll also have, you know, some money from the sale of our home that can go towards, you know, the mortgage payment, or maybe we want to sell a car that we don't need, or something that you can kind of figure out how to give yourself that buffer, and thinking about ways to work smarter, not harder. Maybe there is, you know, like selling pieces of furniture on Facebook Marketplace or something along those lines, that can kind of help you in that way. You know, even like taking your time to furnish a house, right? Like that's the biggest thing. When we bought this house 2 years ago, you know, there's still areas of my house that I don't have completely furnished yet. And I'm not worried about that, right? It's like having the space to grow is super helpful. So yeah, very Virgo, man. Yeah. Hello. I've got a son on a mission. Oh, I love that. There you go. So my dad will be talking to him, right? Yeah. And it's such a beautiful, it's such a beautiful process of that. I have a friend, Noah, that, was Jehovah's Witness actually, and they do similar things like with but like more local like missions and like going door to door, and I think he was a Scorpio, if I had to guess too. I feel like he was a Scorpio or a Libra maybe, and he would talk about doing like going on missions or something along those lines, like, but they would be like missions in New Jersey, not like, oh, I'm going to Colombia, I'm in Spain, I'm in Florida, I'm halfway around the world, I'm in Antarctica, you know, like, interesting. But it's funny that I randomly thought of him. I don't know if Noah, if you don't have to share your son's name, but if Noah was a name or is a name, that'd be funny. But yeah, writing down and figuring out like how can you strategize, where is that money coming from, like that, those are all normal fears that also have like a very like 3D logical workable answer, right? This costs XYZ dollars. How do I make XYZ money? What do I need to reconfigure to make XYZ more money? Where can we trim the fat? Maybe there's some extra, and this is also coming off of a Venus retrograde. People, oh, sorry, Nini. You're like, no. Why do I always have to channel this person during this time? I won't say the magic number. But yeah, my psychic gift's coming through and everyone else is like transitioning across readings here. But that also feels like I just actually looked towards my ephemeris that I have up here, and I looked right towards the little symbol for Taurus 24 and 43 also being numbers that are coming up with associated with that. 40, 37 too. Jameson. Oh, I love that. I love that. That's handsome. That's a good name. But like thinking about maybe having some plans for Taurus season. So it is Taurus season, right? So maybe some grounding talks. May is what I thought of specifically. Also looking at that 5 there, 4 and 5, right? It being the 4th month, April. It's a different one actually too. Oh no. We'll have to be careful. Be careful of the names that I say. Does it also start with an N? That's what I was curious about. I wanted to say Nick or Nicholas, or Nico. I also thought of Nigel Thornberry, which is funny. But maybe some things that you can kind of ground yourself in, Chris, for May and April, and thinking about like what is it that feels like it would be a good kind of plan of attack. I see like you like sitting down like with your wife like at a dining room table. It's funny because there's a family that I used to follow that had really good, like they had like 8 children, and they were also part of the LDS church, and they had she did like budgeting. Oh, I forget. She has like a pretty big YouTube channel, and she would do like budgeting for like if you were gonna go to like BJ's or Sam's Club or Costco, and like buying in bulk for family, and like how to do it on a discount. And like they also like would buy like half a cow a year. It was like $800. You like buy a cow from like a local farmer, and they package it and butcher it and everything for you, and then they put it in like a deep freezer, like things like that, which you may do already, like having a larger family. But like thinking about those types of practical things that like can give you an actual tangible grasp on it, because it feels like there's a desire for your spirit to lean into more of the spiritual, but I have a feeling that like more of those 3D like homebound stuff is what's kind of taking you out of allowing yourself to ground, right? Or like it feels like maybe you're only allowing yourself to focus on one or the other, when it can be both simultaneously. So finding that like those layers can also be kind of helpful. So like, okay, what are we doing here? Yeah, I think for you also gate 9 that sits in your sacral center here is also like what allows you to have the predisposition to focus on one thing at a time. But it's also like one thing at a time could be like focusing on like, okay, today you have like a spiritual day where you kind of focus on that, and maybe you're mulling over things privately. You don't have to necessarily share them out loud. And then the next day it's like conversations with your wife about like the 3D stuff and like where money is coming from, right? Or what are we going to do for that? And as a projector, right, like your strategy, especially with that 4426 channel, is how to think about how to get the most bang for your buck, right? And like how to be most strategic energetically. Bang for your buck energetically is what I keep wanting to say. Because as a projector, like you really need, especially with that undefined root center, every single day. I literally have to have like, time, right, this is especially because of gate 5, but with your gate 9 too, and that 42 as well, or I should say the hanging gate of 53, which was what was that placement? Let me scroll here. Your Saturn, excuse me, it's about, I'm not breathing deep enough, that's why I'm like pseudo yawning. If you guys ever yawn a lot and you're not actually sleepy, it's because your brain isn't getting enough oxygen, so your brain makes you yawn. Fun fact, random fact. But yeah, I have to do it multiple times a day. That's why I'm big, because I have so much water and air, especially being a water sun. Lighting candles, fire, and earth elements. That's why my walls are green. My background is all earth colors. I wear a lot of earth and fire colors, right? A little bit of water. Sometimes I'm in blue, white, right? Although white to me feels more airy, clouds. But doing things at ground, like sitting also to do this type of work, or when I'm reading for people, helps me. Sometimes if it's a more fiery day, I need to walk. But I think having those moments, even if you have to wake up a little bit earlier, to give yourself that ability to ground is going to be helpful. And just intuitively knowing that you need that, even if you have to set a timer on your phone. Hi, Darian. Welcome. Yeah, I'm so glad. Thank you for being here. Nice to meet you. That's going to be important. And it's also important when you're like, when you get that energetic hit of somebody, even if they don't directly ask you to do something, as a doer, right? Or an action taker. It's not projector males by society standards outside there can be a projection in you that you're lazy, but it's just that you don't have the same bandwidth of energy as generators and manifesting generators. So you need to figure out how to work smarter, not harder, so that you can spend a lot of your time grounding and resting too. I mean, it gets easier as you know, as your kids get older, right? I know the grandbabies are coming through now too for you. But yeah, it's like, that's really, really, really important. Yeah. Yeah. Learn that in course. That's so funny. Yeah, breath work. Yes. Your jaw, right? Your back. Like I'll do this sometimes too, especially when I'm reading. It's so funny because I feel other people's spirits and spirit guides behind me a lot, or they'll come in and it's like they feel like, even if I visualize them out here, they come from here, where if it's me and my spirit guides, they're more here, or like the top of my head. It's very somatic. And so if you find yourself doing this a lot, it's also psychosomatically, it's like the body keeping score, right? Like, having to protect ourselves from, from our back. And also being a caves person in human design for myself. What was your environment actually? Markets. Yeah. Yeah. Markets is interesting because it's like, figuring out, and survival and need being your motivation. Like, of course, you're going to be concerned about money and finances and things like that, and the practical aspect of things. It's like, I know what I have to do to, 4 grandkids already. Oh, another 4. Oh, congratulations. That's so cute. So 4, so more than 1, right? I just saw the most recent one when we connected. But yeah, like, it's like, okay, I know that this needs to come from somewhere, but also where am I going to get I don't just need the money. I need the energy to be able to get the money. And what does that look like? Yeah. Yes, exactly. Shoulders down, back up. Yes. Back and down. Yeah, up, back, and down. Like the rolling, right? Perfect posture. I feel that. And I always feel it in like the bottom portion of my shoulder blades and like my mid back. So thank you for that. And I'm like, I'm a huncher because I've always been so tall. Like I was like 5'7", 5'8". By the time I was like 12, 11 and a half, 12, I grew all of a sudden really fast. And then all my friends, guys and girlfriends were like, 5'4", all like shorter than me. So it started the hunch then. And then I'm like, oh, but I have gotten a lot better though. My bar teacher was very pleased at my posture the last time, my bar instructor. But yeah, Chris, let me know if you have any other questions or if there's anything else. I think, knowing that part of what's going to be grounding to you is the data analysis and the organization, and saying like, how do I want to practice, moving forward when it comes to what I need. That's really important. Oh, Darian, I didn't realize and see. Thank you so much for being so kind. I'm sorry I didn't see your notification come through and I totally yapped completely past 8:10. So thank you so much for being so gracious. And if that ever happens, please feel free to be like, hey, excuse me, I signed up, certified yapper. But thank you. I appreciate that. So let me pivot over here to Darian. Do that. Let's see. Do this. I just went back. I was like, maybe I should go back. Maybe it's like Psychic Friends Network. You were sending me the psychic loving nudge from afar. But thank you, Chris, for letting me read for you. Oh, okay. Let's see here. And I'll go over with you too. So you get more than, we'll do like 15, 20 minutes. So you get a little bit more love as a thank you. Okay. Aw. Yeah, absolutely. It's fun. I'm already learning a lot. Aw, thank you so much. You're so sweet. Chris has me in Patreon too. So we have some nice extra time together. But thank you. And I love the name, like Darian's Door is so nice. Okay, so let's see. Let me read your question. And then we will look at your chart here. I'll move myself over here too, so we can do that. Oh, you also have the 4426 channel. So there was a little bit of helpful double dipping, but let me see. I'm so stuck. So uninspired, lost my job out of the blue. I'm sorry. And I know I'm supposed to switch and change, but this is very hard, paralyzing. Yeah, I'm sure you have some Capricorn aspects too that are making that even more like, what's happening? The 4426 alone. I know I need to use my 4 line and network and just get out there, but I feel absolutely stuck, uninspired. My life revolved around a routine, and I know as a man gen, that's not good. But now with no routine, I'm like melted ice cream help. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. And you're welcome, Chris. Thank you. And I relate to that. And what's interesting is that you said something that was a misconception that I also had 9 years ago when I found out that I was a man gen. And it was that, well, I'm a manifesting generator. I'm not supposed to finish everything that I start, and I'm supposed to float around all day. And then I realized that I had gate 5. And that I was supposed to learn how to use that over time. And you have the 515 channel, but the 5 is in your conscious side, the side that associates with things you are more impacted by, or you know more about yourself to be true, in your Neptune, your Sagittarius Neptune. Whereas your gate 15 is something that you grow into over time. And this is actually where the sum of all of your parts is really important, because when you're looking at the fact that you do have gate 5 as a manifesting generator, this is what gives us our need for a schedule and routine. So for me, every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, most times, right? That's my routine where I'm on live, right? And I happen to be on YouTube live tonight because I was traveling Wednesday and I'm popping up on Saturday instead. So we like to have certain, what I call anchor points to our day as a manifesting generator. So to answer, just to acknowledge, for one, that it's okay to have that be something that exists for you as a man gen, because two things exist like that simultaneously. We can be very type A manifesting generators for particular things. That's why we have, we can't stand to step on crumbs on the floor. We may always have slippers that we wear around the house. Certain things like we can't stand like having tags on our clothes. The seams to our socks can't be directly on the line of our toes, right? Like all those kinds of things that we have that are very particular. Our coffee always having to be made a certain way. Those kinds of things are important to pay attention to. So now going through this transition as a manifesting generator, where it does feel super destabilizing when the rug is being pulled out from underneath you, with manifesting generators with the 515 channel like you have, it's like you like change, but when you can control it and you decide that you want change, not when change happens to you against your will, right? So it's like literally the rug being pulled out from underneath you and feeling like melted ice cream is a perfect vocal description of that. And so with that being said, creating anchor points right now, super critically important. That is something that is going to ground you, and also helpful for you, Chris, even though you don't have these exact placements. It's a good tip. And this is something that I give people all the time. I was just talking about this on TikTok last night. We're grabbing a notebook, and I want you to do a brain dump of all the things that you want to get done, right, during the day or during the week, or things that are stressing you out. And then on the next page, right, tonight, before you could literally, I'm assuming that you are still, if you are still in Texas, and state where you were born in, or in the U.S., it's Easter tomorrow, right? If you're celebrating, I don't know if you're religious, right? But it's Sunday. Stores are going to be closed. But write down the top 3 things that if you get them done, no matter what, that's what's going to make you feel like you're moving the needle forward in the right direction. And this is where give yourself 2 weeks to practice this, because you're learning how to regulate your nervous system, okay? And what I mean by that is that write something silly on there, like you know that you're going to do no matter what, like brush your teeth, look for jobs on LinkedIn. Let's just use that as an example, if you want to do that tomorrow or not. And then maybe you also, you were saying I'm supposed to switch and change, but it's very hard. Yeah, I love that. I love that. So just the helpful universal affirmation through me to help you, very important. And so that helping your nervous system, because it gives you that grounded sense of control that creates the ability for you to connect and understand where your intention is going and your energy is flowing, okay? So paying attention to, I'm headed this way, this is the purpose, right? So the third thing can be like create content, because I want to pivot to being a content creator. Let's just say that, for example. I don't know what you're interested in switching in, or if there was an area that you were looking to switch to, but thinking of something that is like, okay, I'm going to work on the 3D as I work the 3D like capitalist 9-to-5 job, as I'm focusing on maybe growing my side hustle that I want to become the main hustle, right? Focusing on that. I wanted to look at your Capricorn, if we had any Cap here. Yeah, and gate 61, gate 54 is the one too. Gate 18 though, and gate 44, the 4426 channel is like, where's my money coming from? You don't like to have that stress. So I can relate to that, right? Where I was like, I need to figure out like, okay, in order for me to be able to feel like I can be creative and not feel like melted ice cream and feel like I'm in charge of my own scoops, is like figuring out how to feel solid again. And so for me, like one of the jobs that I did, applied to do car insurance and to be a claims adjuster for the Little Green Gecko company. And that was the company that I was making like good money to be able to afford my first apartment, 1-bedroom apartment by myself. And so I stuck with that job until I was able to leave and pursue more creative pursuits, and then eventually do this full time, right? This is my full-time gig for the last like officially like 4 years, but really like 2.5 solidly. So yeah, I wanted to contact. Yeah. I think it's like meeting yourself where you're at, Darian. Like I would suggest, again, for nervous system regulation, just picking one thing. And your 4 line, like that's going to be so helpful, especially with your juxtaposition cross as a 4-1. That's only 1% of the population has that profile. So you already are in the minority of people in that way, even though you're popular as a manifesting generator. Man-gens are still only 33% of the population. And then that 4-1 in you is only 1%. But that 4 line is like, how do I network to build my net worth sort of thing, right? Who do I share if I go and celebrate with family tomorrow? Who do I share with that I trust, that like, to see if like their company is hiring, so that I can do that and then, you know, just be consistent with filming content. I don't know if this is too technologically advanced for you, but I'll tell you something that I did too while I was like testing out TikTok as a new portal for myself. There's a website called pexels.com. This is all being recorded. So after we post this, we're literally exactly 1 hour and 30 minutes into the recording. So if you want to go back and listen to your reading, Darian, like you can go back and do this, right? So pexels.com, it's PEXELS.com. And they have horizontal and vertical royalty-free video footage that you can use of your own discretion. You download it, and let's say it'll be like a woman walking in the woods on a sunny day. And then you put a tip or an example or something that you know from your, whatever you want to share on that royalty-free video, making sure that the royalty-free video is relevant to the content. And you could do this for YouTube Shorts. It doesn't have to be like TikTok, but that's what I had done. And then it's a way that you don't have to be worried about getting in front of the camera, but it's the first step to helping you build a community and also the consistency of flexing the muscle in creating content, right? So going to Pexels, downloading the royalty-free video, typing in, like, say you want to share tips about like an apothecary, right? And maybe you want to share tips about different roots or root vegetables, right? Or herbs that have to do with certain things, right? Oh yeah, thank you. I'm so glad. Thank you so much. I mean, I love doing this. This is my joy, is to help you guys think creatively about getting unstuck. It's not just about like, oh, this is what this means. Good luck, everybody else. Figure it out. Bye. I always love giving like the practical implementation. And so all that to say, right, going to Pexels, and then whatever it is that you want to share, writing, one tip. It doesn't have to be very long. The video only has to be anywhere between 7 and 15 seconds, right? If you go and look at some of my older videos on TikTok or some of the last 2 shorts that I posted here, you'll see how I did the same thing. I'm on screen in the background. You could do that for a 7-second clip, and you could see the example of how I did it. And then you just rinse and repeat that same kind of formula for whatever it is that you want to be known for, what you want people to come to you for. Like, this is Human Design Hotline. I also do my non-alcoholic zero proof events now called Human Design Hotline and Human Design Happy Hour in person. Excuse me. And that's where it's like that you can be creative with that alliteration. Like when you open like Darian's door, like, are we knocking on the door? Maybe all of your B-roll footage that you get from Pexels is of a doorway, or they're all like different doorways or portals, right? Because it's Darian's door. Why not operate on that? And you can kind of share with people what you want to be known for. That's how you start to build that consistency. And so, in something that I said yesterday, there was a person that I read for on TikTok that is posted in the folder here, if you will, for the April 18th readings. Oh, I just went out of my head. What was I saying with that? Portal, posting, consistency. I guess it wasn't meant to be shared. I forgot. I literally went right out of my brain. I was like, I looked over here to remember it, and then I forgot about it. But yeah, I'll digress off of that. Let me read your question, because I feel like there was a part of it that I was... Yeah, flexing the muscle of consistency, I think, is just the biggest thing. And then that line 4, like building your network, like focusing on like who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? There's like a funny audio like that. But that paralyzation comes from the overwhelm of like executive dysfunction and not knowing where to start. And what I have shared with you just on that tip alone, and that was what I was doing back on TikTok, you'll start to get like immediate results on YouTube Shorts and TikTok. Depend if you want to use both. If you want to just use one, you can cross-pollinate for sure. But make sure that you're only using like 5 hashtags. You don't need a bunch like you did back in the days of Instagram. And again, give yourself 2 weeks just to build the habit and say, I only, as a man, Jen, right? You could be like, I'm only going to do this for 2 weeks to set a good foundation for myself, because that's what your one line craves. I'm a 1-3, so I know the feeling, but you want just a good, consistent, solid foundation that is going to make your 5-15 happy. And then eventually you're going to say, you know what? I need to shift this. Something that really helps for us gate 5 people is to know that we're only doing certain things for a season. And so I really chunked down my year into winter, fall, summer, spring, and looking at what do I generally feel like doing during those months? What do I feel like doing during those months? I don't know why that sounded weird originally coming out of my mouth, but what do I feel like doing? And so I know that because of my astrology also, I was talking about this yesterday, my 12th house is in Capricorn, which Capricorn happens in the dead of winter. 12th house is like more introverted, subconscious, homey, like, you know, going deep in our recesses of our mind, our dreams. I know, especially this year, it was really solidified for me that I need to be introverted and not as extroverted during the winter months. So I'll keep maintaining what, you know, all systems are still go, but I know that like I want to do and make myself less available for one-on-one readings, right? And I can still show up and do my TikTok lives and now YouTube lives, but I know that like less is more. So maybe instead of going live 3 days a week, I'll go live like 3 times that month, right? It's still there. I'm helping people, but I know that that's generally true for the winter months for me. And then the spring, come Aries season, right? I feel like, okay, I want to be a little bit more experimental. I want to change the type of content that I'm doing. And that's how you can find that balance of saying, well, how do I keep the novelty and the interest that keeps my manifesting generator happy? But then how do I match that with the security and consistency that my 15-5 channel likes? And that also is just important to build consistency and getting people to trust me. That's what I was going to say. I had a projector that was talking about crowdfunding and how they're an artist, and when they tried to do crowdfunding, they're a projector, but when they tried to do crowdfunding, that it didn't really work. And I was like, well, first, before crowdfunding and asking people for money, people need to see you an average of 7 times to buy something from you or know you enough to trust you to buy something for you, generally speaking. Those are like the yellow light people. In marketing, there's like a traffic light people that are red light. They're like the review. They're like automatically say no. They'll read a lot of reviews, right? They need a process. That's like the orange light almost going into yellow. And green people that are like our sacral manifesting generators, you know, like myself, that are like, oh, I love that. I'm buying it. I want it. It's fine, right? Like, you know, whatever, $20, no big deal. And so knowing that exists, it's like knowing that the consistency for people to invest in you is important. So if it takes people an average of 7 times to see you, that's only 1 post, you know, every day for a week in order to convert somebody, statistically speaking, right? So just from even outside of like a human design perspective, just by like perspectives in general of like what it takes from a marketing standpoint, marketing perspective, that's important. Something else that's important because of the type of your late degree Leo, early degree Virgo, gate 29, is the yes woman gate, the yes person gate. And so watching out for overcommitting or being so ready to say yes to something before you're ready, or you're the person that's like, somebody says jump and you're like, how high? And you're like, oh my God, like I thought I was able to do this, but I actually need to say no more often. That's where you want to also look out, because that you do get stuck in that analysis paralysis. You're like, I'm going to say yes to anything to create some momentum and movement, but that's not necessarily a good thing for you to do, right? Like you want to pay attention to that. This really explains why I spent my whole life in the serving industry. Yeah, 1,000%. It was different and the same every single day. I could plug in and draw everyone into my program. Makes sense. Yes, exactly. So figuring out, like, knowing that about yourself and that's a red thread. Also 838. Leticia was mentioning that earlier. 838 just switched to 839. I don't know if noir means anything or le chat noir, but I'll say that too. But how can you rinse and repeat that formula, right? Yeah, saying yes is very accurate. Also very accurate for the service industry. I don't know, I just know I have to say yes to you, right? That's fine. I'm just going to say yes. I also wanted to read to you from the Book of Destinies about your incarnation cross, so let me do that before I go down another certified yapper manifesting generator rabbit hole. Let me see. You are, juxtaposition cross stuff. Yeah. Juxtaposition cross of commitment. So thinking about the things that you want to do for work and what you want to get paid for, Darian. And what is so helpful and what is so slept on in the spiritual community, and I'm assuming that you want to do something in this realm. I just kind of gave you that. I'm just making that up, right? As a channeling that, if you will, is that having the ability to work in hospitality will get you so much farther than people who start and have not had any experience in the service industry, in hospitality in general, in some way, shape, or form. It is such a slept on trait that a lot of people don't realize that they need to have. So not forgetting that. But I'm going to read this straight through and try not to interrupt myself. So your life theme is to commit to everything that life offers, and most importantly, do so on your own terms. Your tendency to give a big yes to anyone or anything that comes your way. Your tendency is to give a big yes to anyone and anything that comes your way, and this inevitably will lead to you overcommitting and exhaustion. You can accomplish much, but you need to be clear to whom and what you are giving all your energy. Everyone would like you to commit to them and their needs, and they will pressure you to join them whether you are interested or not. As a manifesting generator, you will find that even though you have the tremendous stamina, there are limits to your endurance, yet you probably appreciate that unconscious inner urge that keeps you consistently active and busy. Being burned out every now and then is normal for you, so by planning ahead, you can arrange for pauses in your activities, allowing you space and time to recuperate. In those times when you are reclaiming your strength, you will realize that there is a difference between being busy just to be busy and being busy with people and projects because they actually merit your commitment and activity. This realization is a major key for living an enhanced and fulfilling life. There is no question about your ability to make things happen, and in fact, wherever you go, others are constantly trying to get your attention, interest, and involvement in their life and projects. Because you are so obliging and used to being busy, your life can gather more and more mass and momentum, gathering people and projects as it goes along until you reach your limits and have to stop if you can. Mangens have a very particular way of knowing where to place their attention. What is always in question is your ability to discern those people and issues that are empowering part of your own life journey. For this to happen, you of all people are reminded to pay close attention to your authority as it quietly but surely guides you through your life. So I've been studying astrology since 2014. Yes, I love it more than anything. So that's what you're picking up on. Oh, I love that. Okay, perfect. What you'll really appreciate with the human design overlap is that I just started doing a whole deep dive on the gates, which you may or may not have seen. And so in the gate series that I'm doing, I just posted gate 27 today, which you have actually. So you can go and watch that. And what's line do you have it in? Gate 27 in the 6th line. So it's towards the end of the video. I talk about how if you have a gate 27 Taurus placement, it's not going to overlap with your tropical astrology, but that means that you have a Taurus placement on your design side, in your case, on the left-hand pillar, that's between 2 and 7 degrees. So there's an overlap between every gate placement means that it's a different zodiac sign between a specific degree. So gate 1, which is a Scorpio gate placement that I've also did a video on that you also have, is if you have a Scorpio placement between 13 and 18 degrees. So it's about every gate placement in human design, those numbers, right, are broken down into 5-degree segments. So that'll be another kind of helpful rabbit hole. You may know this already, so forgive me if I'm telling you something that you've already picked up on in your very intense research as a 4-1, as you know you love your research like I do. But it's helpful kind of like to see that overlap if you're already well-versed in astrology. So yeah, okay, yay, I'm so excited. Yeah, I know, I want to also do a series, and I will do a series on incarnation crosses on YouTube, because I can go even deeper than I do over on TikTok, and then break it down. So when I get to that point, I'm going to see how I can manage that between the gate series. I have like 61 more gates to get through. Gate 44 I'm going to be posting. I've already filmed that, and it was sent to my editor to do the intro and outro for me. She did that today. But that way you have that to also kind of look at. And I really love, like, because of how much I've seen, and I've read for thousands of people at this point. Yeah, I'm so glad. Thank you. That how it's one thing to know the definitions of things. It's another thing to remember people and the repeated themes that people have that you read for, that you can give real life examples to. So like the way that I explained some of the gate placements was also, and you also have in gate 44. So literally all 3 videos that I have finished, you have all 3 of them. So that's also helpful. But I explain it in a way that makes sense. Because if I read to you, like I'm going to read to you, I'll just open, let's see. Gate 48 or gate 47, right? Do you have gate 47? Oh, gate 47. I'll say gate 48 you have. So what do you have? Gate 48 in the 6th line. So this is, if you use it in its exalted placement versus its detriment, right? It's gate 48, the gate of depth is in the 6th line. So 48.6 is self-fulfillment. So what this says, right? Kismet, exactly. What this says in Ra Urahu speak is, the valued center that as it gives, it receives and thus can continue to give a depth and potential talent that is of value to others. So it's like, okay, I kind of get what that means, but like in real life, what is that? How do we understand that? And so those videos are a space, thanks to Nini who suggested this, that ability to understand that. And if you use it in its detrimented aspect or have it natally in its detrimented aspect, it's where the depth is limited. Where the depth is limited, the taste will be superficial and affect the quality of possible talent. So what can happen, and what I see with a lot of people who are in the spiritual space, is that this work takes a lot energetically. Even though it's so much of a joy for us to do, we're still working. There's still labor that goes into doing this kind of stuff. And because a lot of people use it as a tool that's a part of what they do, but not something that they do fully professionally, there's just a lack of judgment and understanding, like how much organization it does take to be able to transfer these complex topics into things that come down, you know, to that make it seem so easy, right? Or so effortless, as you know, studying astrology for 11 years now, right? So when we're looking at that and we see somebody that's predisposed, gate 48 can hold a fear of inadequacy and feeling like, oh, I've studied this for 11 years, but I still don't know enough. I can always learn more. We always will feel like that as ones, which is what makes us the best teachers, because we know that we don't always know everything. So we're always wanting to learn more, to be on top of our knowledge. It's a good way to kind of pivot that. And also get out of that analysis paralysis of putting things out there. And so what can happen is that if you're like, well, it took me a long time and I finally am here. And, you know, with this work, I see that there's so many other people that I give so much less, but, you know, they get so much more for their superficial readings of Venuses or whatever, you know, what have you. It's focusing on what are the ways that as Darian, you can share the knowledge in a way that's super helpful, right? Yeah. So, cause that's what you're predisposed to, right? It's like, what can be helpful, right? I think is exactly what I gave you, not even realizing or looking at this placement at the beginning, full circle, is like doing something like finding, there's so much like B-roll footage on Pexels of like incense burning near a lake, or like Buddha statue or metaphysical store. And you can start writing Darian's perspectives, or Darian's intuitive, as it like maybe an intuitive astrologer perspective on whatever it is that you want to share with people from your lens of astrology, or how you are as a reader, right? Because it's like no one has the sum of experiences that you do, which is why certain people, even though 100 people have done it, there's people that have done human design, even Raul, who the founder of human design, and the way that he talks, I'm like, oh my God, this is like watching grass grow or watching paint dry. Like I cannot listen to this anymore. So I took this information and I teach it in a way that makes that speaks to people like all of you that are here with me now, where we're more conversational, we're more personal. It's not just about the ego and sharing how much I know, which with human design, you can get into that a little bit more. And sometimes with astrology, but I see it more in human design. It's like the PhD students and the TAs at a college campus comparing themselves to like, like a middle school gym teacher, right? There's like, they put themselves on this pedestal as if like greater, holier than thou kind of pedestal sometimes. And there's the ego boost and like, well, I'm so cerebral and I'm so book smart that like, you lowly gym teacher, like it kind of gives that vibe sometimes. And I knew that like, I don't like that energy. I like this to feel conversational. And if it's about teaching people how to navigate their energy most effectively, that's how I want to show up as a reader. So I don't feel like it's necessary for me to be gatekeepy about like, well, I'm only going to share the examples of how to do that for your social media, Darian. Like you only get that when you buy my $10,000 life coaching program, right? Yes, I do mentorship people. They get a different level of access or hands-on, working together from me, but that doesn't stop me from being able to provide tangible examples to people in real time. That's something that you can literally leave and start implementing at the end of this live, right? So it's knowing thyself as somebody that also has a gate, the 4426 channel, like yourself, like Chris, like a lot of people who find me, we have that self-motivation to keep going. It's just knowing that like not to get overwhelmed in that way, and not feel like you're giving too much, as long as it's sustainable for you is what's going to be helpful. So yeah. I totally agree. I can't get something he said out of my head and it limited me, but you explained it perfectly for me to try. Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you so much. And yeah, and listen, so I am an art historian. That's why I have the Botticelli Birth of Venus fresco behind me by university degree. I'm also trained in human design professionally, but my background and what I always look at when I'm looking at the people of origin, the people who created a lot of these, this thing that I stick my neck out for, that the thing being human design, I always look at who is the founder and what was the historical context in which this thing was created. So there were a couple things that were happening simultaneously. Ra Uru is a 5-1 manifestor who's not an idiot, right? He was a marketing man named Alan Krakauer from Canada. So in the 80s, there was a certain way that spirituality and spiritual systems were being promoted to get people on board. And what he did was a classic marketing tactic of explain things to people in a way that they will understand what this is. It looks familiar to like Bashar channeling and that kind of languaging and those tone of voices and changing in a certain way and speaking very authoritatively. And this is how we speak in a spiritual space, right? Like that, his like vocal cadence. And so he was giving the people what they knew, but then telling them what they actually needed. And what I really like about a lot of what he said is like basically like try it or not, like I don't give a shit. Like you either resonate with it or you don't. And so what I did when I first found human design, when I left school or when I graduated at 22, I'm 31 now, is that I was like, let me try this. Like, and I practiced human design and studied for 4 years before I charged anyone anything. And I always use it. I read for hundreds of people before I was like, this is going to be my thing. Like, this is something, right? Like I have a calling that I don't know why it doesn't make logical sense. Sacral manifesting generator also helps with your emotional authority. But that's where you want to pay attention to that stuff, right? So Raoru, a lot of the flashback that people have now is that like, well, he, is whitewashing spirituality and like taking, cause he's white, right? He's taking all of these systems and making them sound like they were his own. And I don't like it because it's a channeled work. And it's like, well, I also can say what I do as a channeled work, because if I call myself an intuitive astrologer, he isn't taking all of these systems and saying, well, I came up with astrology, I came up with Kabbalah, I came up with the I Ching. He brought them all together in a system that keeps giving, where we can look at all of these different cultures of origin, which is very easily accessible to find all of the systems that went into human design. Now, the exact calculation behind the scenes and how it's layered is proprietary. However, if you know certain systems really well, it's not as hard to figure out. I've been working my way through that the last 9 years. But I also just like to say that from a place of encouragement to, not feel overwhelmed, to know what you're studying, to know what you're referencing, right? To know that, he was a manifestor. So sometimes manifestors are always going to say things that are repelling to people. Their aura as manifestors is to repel or attract. We have certain channels like that too, especially with that access to that 4426 channel, right? That we both have. Like that's like, or the 3420 is the generating aspect because it's what defines our sacral. But every channel has either an overtone of being like a generator, a manifestor, a projector, etc. And so that's what creates different flavors in our energy. So sometimes we even experience that, where there are things in the way that I speak that I know other people don't like. I'm also an Aquarius Mercury, gate 49 Aquarius Mercury. in the 5th line. So I automatically know that some of the things that I say are going to be naturally provocative to people, or people aren't going to like it when they realize how quick Aquarius Mercury, I will detach if somebody says something that I don't like or demands something of me that I deem inappropriate. Right. So also paying attention to kind of like that overlap with knowing that Raoul, who is a 5-1 manifester, he was also a human being, right? Like I don't put that much weight. It's kind of like how I admire people's hard work and dedication when they are successful, but I also like know that they're just people that, pull their pants down to go to the bathroom like I do every single day. Like I'm ready to say it. So I encourage you to also think at it from that lens, and I thank you for saying that and for sharing that. But I think it's helpful to kind of know that historical context, and I'm not, I've had people that are in the human design space, a couple of them that I blocked because I was like, you're just not trying to have a dialogue. This is a monologue where you're trying to reprimand me. And on TikTok specifically, that because I present energetic, and a lot of the times earlier on in my career, when I was younger, that people didn't think that I knew as much as I did or I studied as much as I did, also before they knew that I was a 1-3, with how much research we go into as 1-line people. That, would try to be like, well, that's not what that means, or that's incorrect. And I'm like, yeah, barking up the wrong tree here. And I also taking what you say with a grain of salt, and knowing that, especially as an Aquarius rising for my placements, I'm not meant for everybody, and I don't want to be. Aquarius risings, and I saw there's an astrologer named Lauren, who I think is a Leo rising, Lauren Ash on TikTok, and she said something funny and it's so true, where like Aquarius risings are like, well, the majority is following me, like I must be doing something wrong, whereas Leo placements and Leo risings are like, the majority loves me, I'm doing something right. And I was like, that's completely accurate. That was such a good, like, short, quick way to say that. So yeah, that's the short and long of it in real time. But thank you for letting me pour into you too. Yes. Yeah, I attract so many 5-1s, and that projection field always takes me on a ride. I understand it fully. Yes. And it's so interesting because I also see like depending on how well versed the 5-1s or the 5-2s are in human design, they can also use the anticipation of projections to self-flagellate and to create a self-fulfilling prophecy, especially if they also have the channel of struggle. So like, I've gotten a lot of those over time where I'm like, well, that's not what I meant. I'm direct. So what I said is what I said. There wasn't any, especially as an Aquarius Mercury, if I didn't say it, or if I said it in that way, like what I said, what I meant, there wasn't any double entendre, hidden meaning in that way. You and I both have the Pure Man Gen channel, right? So the 3420 channel. And so that just is a knee-jerk bubbling up of what we were saying, right? Like, oh, I just said this out loud. So there wasn't the filter came after. I realized it after, right? That's when we have the shower thoughts about what we wish we said in the argument that was like different, or, whatever. So yeah, the things that we wish we said differently moving forward. But I see that a lot. And 5-1s too, like, depending on the combination of their other placements, like if you have a 5-1 with a lot of Leo placements in their chart, it's also somebody that says that they don't want to talk about themselves, and they may not, but they definitely need a lot of praise and recognition still. So like, not expecting them to be loyal, but knowing that like, they like to be praised for that, or just shown that respect and appreciation is really big for them. And I would say with Aquarius placements too, I'm also really big on respect. Like I was talking about that yesterday too. But yeah, two sides of the same coin there. So it's interesting, like, and then 5-1s, if you see other 5-1s are kind of content to just like hold space for a lot of other people, or hold the container and not really share personal anecdotes, but they would rather share like stories and anecdotes from clients or friends or other people in their life. They like to share through examples of things that happened outside of them, not to them personally. It's interesting to see how that shifts. And then, for your placements too, and for mine as well, we share that one line with 5-1. So, and there's a lot of 5-1s. I think 5-1s are the second most common profile after 3-5s. I forget where I found that statistic. It's not in this is the definitive book of human design that I'm looking at. It's not in this book, I don't believe. I know this book shares the statistics of the defined versus undefined centers, and the energy types, like 37% generator, 33% manifesting generator, so on and so forth. But I don't think it does that. Yeah, it doesn't do that with the profiles. It'll be nice when we have more people that are doing it, so that the percentages will slowly change. But yeah. Oh, wow, there you go. Yes, your dad, your little sister, and your brother. Yeah, my mom is a 5-1. My dad is a 2-5, and I very rarely get 2-5s. Like, but their first line is the hermit. Like, the 2 is the line of the hermit, so it makes sense. Like, they're more introverted. If I do, maybe they'll just, like, they'll view, but they're not really, like, active engagers. It depends. Like, they have to really like the subject or, like, know enough to want to to feel like they can contribute something. Yeah. But yeah, 2-5s, I don't get a lot of 2-5s. Everyone else, it's a pretty shared, like, mixed bag. Although 3-6s are a little bit more rare, and 6-3s as well. I don't really get a lot of 6-3s, but I feel like they're always going through it until their Saturn return. I recently did my dad's sidereal chart, and it says I'm a 5-1. Oh, I did my sidereal chart, and it says I'm 5-1. Oh, I like that. Do you resonate with that? Like, do you feel like your sidereal HD 5-1-ness also resonates? I should look at mine too, like, just out of curiosity. I haven't looked at it in a while, just because I felt like, at least at the time, and this is going back a couple years, that I always felt like my tropical really resonated, but that I'm sure there's similarities. Like, there's always some sort of overlap. And I have, like, sometimes, like, for people that do heavily use sidereal, 5-1, yeah. Oh, a 4-1. Okay. Oh, yeah. That's cool. Yeah, that's also 1%. And for how you described him too, that tracks. Yeah, that's so funny. Wait, let me plug in my computer. I'll, like, get rid of this guy. Do that. I feel like the closer I get to my microphone, it's like unintentional, like, ASMR. Me, like, raking my nails over the the microphone. Yeah. But let me know if you guys have any other questions or anything that's popped up in the meantime. I'll be here for like another half hour or so. And then we'll depart, and I'll be back on here on Wednesday. And if I ever have time on like a Saturday, or if it's a quieter Saturday for me here at home, I don't have any events or things that I'm running around to do, we can do that too. So let me see. Do this actually, so it doesn't distract you. We could bring up Darian's chart. Leave Darian's chart there. What was I just gonna look up? I literally just went out of my brain again. Yeah. It's okay. You're so welcome. Thank you so much. This is very, very helpful. I'm going to subscribe. Oh, thank you so much. And keep up with you. I appreciate that. Thank you. That means the world to me. It's funny how you popped up right at the bottom of my emotional wave. Oh, I love that. Yes. And I love that you're so familiar, like, with the context of your chart too. If I move myself here, like, you're 5-6. I have Anne, who's a member of my Patreon. She's a generator, and she has that channel. And it's like, people don't realize how emotional you guys actually are. Because you can appear more stoic. Although you are a very passionate person, people cannot realize how, like, much their words can affect you too. So, and I'm happy to be able to pour in from my sacral into your emotional wave to help you a little bit more too. I always love giving the extra data to my fellow manifesting generators or generators to give you something to respond to. So, more to come. And if you ever have any requests for different pieces of content, or something else you want me to make a longer video about, I'm happy to. And this will be posted, so you can go back and again watch your reading again and again, which is nice. And I'm trying to get better. Like Nini had also said, it just is it takes a lot of time for me to go back and do the timestamps, especially if I have to edit out like the first 5 minutes of video, on top of editing my YouTube and my TikTok and posting on Instagram and doing all my readings. But I want to figure out how to hold space to prioritize that too. Always shifting things around, right? This is the Man Gen Gate 5 in action. So yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. But yeah, Yeah, I was talking about the energy of tomorrow too, and the energy, if we were to personify the energy, it's an emotional 5-1 manifesting generator for Easter. So we'll see how that goes for some people. My last little sip there. Aw, thank you. I appreciate that, Nini. So are you. Nini, is there anything that like you've had on your mind about what you want, like being like putting yourself out there more, where you feel like people have like slept on you? My mom has to watch everyone's reading anyway. Yes, I feel that. I'm like, what can I know about everyone else's reading? What can I pull away, or what can I learn to also help my people? Yes, welcome to the family. Yes, I appreciate that. We always have a good group here. I have a caves environment in human design. And I'm quad left facing arrows. So, Darian, we also have Trick, who will be here on Wednesdays. That's a quad right like you, emotional or sacral manifesting generator. It'll only be one of the two. But also a 4-1 profile. So you'll appreciate the energy, although heavy Capricorn, placements for Trick. And it's cool to see like so similar but different. But my caves environment with all my left facing arrows is like my communities and my spaces are always very sacred. And so it makes so much sense that I'm like in my cozy space with my community, knowing who's kind of coming in and out, and like pays attention to my people. And I have 5 planets in Scorpio, including my moon. I'm a Scorpio moon, Pisces sun, Aquarius rising. So you can track my planets there. And I'm always like, I hold my spaces very sacred. So there's like any kind of like funky characters that come through, leave pretty quickly. So I'm not somebody that entertains the trolls for the sake of engagement, which I feel like is also nice to know. So yeah, let me see this. Yeah. Thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate that. I love having you guys here. And it means so much to me. I think with so many of us having like, and all of us almost having gate 44 here right now that I know of, it's like that sacredness and just like feel good. I always say too, like, I don't like lives where it feels like I don't understand. I'm not like a voyeuristic person in that way, where I'm like, let me just have people perceive me like just existing and eating and, hanging out. I'm like, well, if you're here, I'm going to teach you something that's actually going to be helpful. And some people just like the companionship of something, alive like that, not to yuck anyone's yum. But I'm like, if I'm going to do this as a sacral man gen and it has to fill my sacral, I want to be in my 1-3 teacher aspect of helping people. So yeah. I've actually started back trying to post my main TikTok. Oh yes, let me know what it is if you want to share, and so I can follow you there. And recently got approved for the TikTok shop. Yay, Amazon influencer, congratulations! So I'm just really gathering all my pain and pushing past the naysayers. Yeah, seriously. What's the point? If people are going to be looking anyway, you might as well give them something to look at. That's at least like engagement for you. I can't find the question I wrote in my journal the other night, but I'll probably remember next week. Okay, yeah, absolutely, no problem. You know where to find me. But I was going to say, you should follow if you don't already. I don't know if you've ever seen Nura, who was one of my mentees this past year. She's a Libra, and they do TikTok shop, her and her partner. And so Nura is also a runner and lives down in Atlanta. And so she does TikTok shop, and they also go live, and she's had a lot of success with it. She's a generator. So I would also take a look at her profile. What's her? Oh, I can find it now. Hold on. Oh, yay. Okay. Hold on. Let me write it down. So anyone that wants to follow Nini on TikTok and support her TikTok shop endeavor, we have the handle B Michaela _ Okay. Oh, I wrote the underscore first. I don't know why I did that. I'll put the @ symbol there. Oh, and I can go. And let me find Nura's account for you so you can look at how she does TikTok live. I think she's Nura Subconscious Healing, but I'll find her handle, and then it can give you some ideas and just like tell her that you know me. And she's gone up already like 200 followers. Like she was, or more than that since the last time. Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah. Let me follow you, and then I can send you her, I'll send you her profile. So you'll see it in like a message request, cause I'm following you now on the B Michaela account. Let's see. Yay. I love this. I love that you have the email in the bio. I love that. And Nura is super sweet, so like just so down to help anyone as well. So let me see. Copy the link. Go back to your profile. Message. She did like the Dubai. I sent like the link because your profile didn't come up right away, and I don't want to spend time like looking for it because I was being a man gen and being lazy. But I was like, with path of least resistance, how do I get it to you faster? But yeah, okay, there we go. Okay, I'm just looking at more questions that I have. There we go. Okay. But yeah, okay, so I sent that to her. Yeah, I have to open a TikTok. LOL, acting like a boomer here. I know. Well, not that far off. No, listen, and it feels like whatever's the most intuitive. Like when you think about, and this is a good like man gen thing. What do you feel like is the most exciting for you? Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You support me and you spend time with me here and give me good ideas for content. Like I always want to support my people. It's a symbiotic relationship. I understand, Darian. I took a break for like 2 years and I'm just gaining the courage. Yeah, and you already have 2,000 followers. Like that's not like a small number. You know, I feel like we always look at the people that have like hundreds of thousands or like millions of followers and we think that that's like, oh, like they look at they have so much engagement. But really, like, and you see it from me too. Like you don't need as many people as you think that you do. There's actually a really good essay that I have here that's called 1,000 True Fans. And I'll actually read it to you because if you have 2,000 followers, you could look at this way. And it's helpful. So I forget who wrote this. Let me see if I can find his name. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Let me see. Yeah, I'll read the first couple paragraphs. So, to be a successful creator, you don't need millions. You don't need millions of dollars or millions of customers, millions of clients, or millions of fans. To make a living as a craftsperson, photographer, musician, designer, author, animator, app maker, entrepreneur, or inventor, you only need 1,000 of true fans. A true fan is defined as a fan that will buy anything you produce. These diehard fans will drive 200 miles to see you sing. They will buy a hardback and paperback and audible versions of your book. They will purchase your next figurine sight unseen. They will pay for the best of DVD version of your free YouTube channel. They will come to your chef's table once a month. If you have roughly 1,000 true fans like this, also known as super fans, you can make a living. And if you are content to make a living, but not a fortune. That's like, you know, millionaire versus billionaire status. Yeah, 1,000 people is a lot. I know. Oh, yay, Christu. I'll follow you when I make mine tomorrow. Yeah, I'm so excited. Yeah, that makes me so happy. I'm excited to have you over on TikTok too, because we have a cool crew and like some people that I can connect you with over there, Darian, that also like aren't on YouTube or they're the reverse of you. So, and I like to think of this like as a fan, like I don't see like as transactional. The helpful part and why I wanted to ask who wrote this is it was written before the advent of Kickstart. Never mind. I thought it was the guy who created Kickstarter. But, you know, fans, like supporters, like I think that this was written in 2008. It said, so like thinking of people as like we connect more on social media. It's more about community than solely being fans, right? Or making it feel like it's like because we support somebody else that we don't have self-respect, if that makes sense. Like I feel like fan can have a flavor to it, but you get my gist of saying that. Here's how the math works. You need to meet 2 criteria. First, you have to create enough each year that you can earn, on average, 100 profit from each true fan. That is easier to do in some arts and businesses than others, but it is a good creative challenge in every area because it is always easier and better to give your existing customer more than it is to find new fans. And what's interesting about that, right, if you think of that kind of philosophy is like, if you are doing TikTok shop, right, Nini, and you like, we'll use Easter for example, and knowing that there are like kids like your son, right, who need, and you make Easter baskets for. I would rather get my Easter basket stuff through a link that you have than go to a random store or go to Target and make a purchase where I just kind of like my money goes into the void and I know that it wouldn't necessarily directly help somebody that is in my community, right? Yeah, exactly. I don't want fans. We are family just meeting each other. Exactly. It's like if we are going back to like Pluto in Aquarius and Pluto in Pisces, 19 years from now when that shift happens, I say is like teaching us all how to we're crafting our own individual podiums right now. And then we're each going to have time to stand on our pedestal and time at the podium to speak, right? So it's like more of that like, oh, you need this, I need that. How do we help supplement each other in real time? Like what does that look like? Yeah. Second, you must make a direct relationship with your fans. That is, they must pay you directly. You get to keep all of their support, unlike a small percent of their fees you might get from a music label, publisher, studio, retailer, or other intermediate. If you keep the full $100 of each true fan, then you need only 1,000 of them to earn $100,000 per year. That's a living for most folks. Now, that is also a number that is shifting for a comfortable life, right? Like in some places of the world, that's like, okay, we live nice. We have a roof over our head. We can have a little fun money. But especially those of you who have more children, that you can need a little bit more than that, to say the least. 1,000 customers is what is a whole lot more feasible to aim for than 1 million fans. Millions of paying fans is not a realistic goal to shoot for, especially when you're starting out. But 1,000 fans is doable. You might even be able to remember 1,000 names. If you add one new true fan per day, it'd only take you a few years to gain 1,000, right? I was just explaining that to my mom the same way. Yeah, everyone is a third-party seller, but I'd rather support the ones who are genuine and not defined by the money. Exactly. It's like, here's the energetic exchange for something that I know that I'm getting that has inherent value. And I think that's where like the people that are always the most successful, and what I have always focused on is like, this is cool, but why should other people care about it? Like if you guys are kind enough to sit here with me on your Saturday night and listen to me talk about human design, I want to make sure that you're also getting something out of it that's truly helpful to you, that's actually going to make a difference. And I can lay my head down on the pillow at night and say, you know what, this is a good energy exchange for our time and dollars and money and, eyeballs to be in each other's orbit, right? So that's really important when it comes to content creation too. And something that I've always thought about is like the people that only come at it from a place of like, look at me or look how great my life is, have a certain shelf life. And sometimes like I never wanted to be somebody that, went online and like showed off all the things that I have in my life. And then that builds some sort of like animosity and like show-offism, or like a lot of the people are in the comments like commenting a lot of negative stuff, or like if somebody goes on and they're people that only argue and tear down other people, like that's not what I ever wanted my account to be, or how I got recognition in some way as a content creator, right? So it's like there are people that like that combativeness, that like that confrontation, and that's what they go for, right? But I was like, not my style, right? I knew that like if I'm going to connect with my people, that's what's really going to be important, and to make sure that you guys always walk away with something that has inherent value. Yeah. I love that. I feel like I've read it before when I was writing my class graduation speech. Oh yeah. I remember everyone I graduated with except like 3 people who just had transferred. Wow. 254 of us. I love that. That's incredible. That's so good. And just like goes to show that like your heart's in the right place and like you're destined for success if that's at the core and the foundation of everything that you're doing, right? Like that's always going to lead you in the right direction. Yeah, I love that. Yes, so we can make it like, the 1,000 true fans. I know, like it's so fun. Like, I love how you can see the growth. I loved, and I wish that they still did this, but like when you're working your way up on TikTok to get 1,000 followers, every day they would do a little plus number and how many people subscribed or that like were interested in your content. Now you still get a different version of that, but yeah. Well, my ice cream is scoopable now. Yay! So you being here tonight is divine. I was going to protest, but this feels like the reason I stayed home. Oh, yeah. Oh, going to protest. Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah. It's like maybe we instead of, giving your last drops left to that, it was meant to kind of fill you in the best way possible to give you a bigger platform, right? Outside of, protesting is great because it holds its weight in a lot of ways, but also like making sure we're not doing it from an empty vessel is also really important too. So thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that, and that makes my heart happy. I'm glad you were here. It's nice to meet you. Yeah, that's the reason I do what I do. Like for me, I was like, if I just feel like I have truly helped somebody in some way, and even if it was just one person, that like really, that really is what does my heart good, you know, to see that like I'm putting a dent, as I think all of us want to here. I know all of us want to here, in making sure that, you know, we're using our powers for good and for the best of our ability. So yeah, protesting the matrix, one human design day at a time. It's so true. It's so true. And now having your added bonus of, I'm excited to see what kind of, I wanted to ask you this too, Darian, do you do tropical astrology? Like, when you go to like Astro or astroseek.com, and do you read, or are you interested in whole sign Placidus, or are you like me and also read both? Because I'm like, I need to look at both. I like the nuance, which is very Aquarius rising of me. Oh, maybe I don't forget that. But yeah, I was curious too. If I don't know if you were leaving for the night actually, so good night. Don't feel pressure to answer that. But 12 minutes at 9:30, and I'm gonna do the same. I won't be too far behind. I can feel my voice needs the rest. And then if you guys have any other questions before we depart, let me know. Here. Both, but Vedic seems to satisfy the side of me that needs a reason and a remedy. Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, I am always looking for more like good Vedic astrologers. So I'm excited to see what you have to share and how you share it and how you describe it. I think I haven't found somebody that does like a good job at like breaking it down and like teaching it in a way that like my one line can understand. Like I feel like every Vedic astrology content creator that I've seen, like they don't start from like a baseline. Like I haven't been able to find somebody, and I haven't, to be fair, for YouTube I haven't looked, so you may have that, you may be having that on YouTube, or I'll be the guinea pig that you can help test videos on as a new subscriber. But like, where do you even start, right? Like, is it like you look at your nakshatras first, like you look at the 12 zodiac signs, like what is that kind of overlap? So I'm excited. It'll be cool to see how you show that. And also like to the point of like the 7-second clips for TikTok and YouTube shorts, like where to start, like Vedic astrology. If like human design, we start with our energy types, but what is like the Vedic astrology equivalent of that, right? It's easier, like, because more people talk about like tropical Western astrology and whole sign, because whole sign is also how we get horoscopes to like, if you're an Aquarius rising, this is how this is going to affect you. But yeah, I was curious about that too. Yeah, the degrees even matter. No, that makes sense. Yeah. There was Brendan, who is one of our projectors, that has been one of the best people, I should say, so far that's explained it. It was like Joy Gestra or something like that. What, like the Scorpio equivalent of like Vedic so it was like J, H, and Y are the three letters that are sticking out to me the most, but I don't remember what it was about. That's as far as I got, right? So I'm like, oh, like, and that's why what I like about human design is that it makes me continue to go deeper every time. And then like how Vedic is calculated, like on my one, Gesta. Okay, thank you. Yes. It was good. Yes, it did. Thank you so much. Yeah, I don't know Vedic speak deeply, but to me, tropical is manageable on a day-to-day. Yes, actually, I think I pressured the good night. Oh, no, you're fine. I just was like, wait, is my brain tired for context clues? Sorry. It It was good. We didn't end up going to my fiance's grandfather's wedding on Sunday, because there was like family drama. My fiance's Cuban, so I followed his lead with that because it's our family to be, but his family to follow that. And then I went on Thursday, was my friend Riley's wedding, who's a Virgo Leo rising reflector. And it was so nice. She has I was mentioning this on the beginning of the live. It's what I'm talking about at the beginning of our live that I posted for yesterday from TikTok on here. And they just bought her and her now official partner, wedded partner, Mac. They use them pronouns, so they go by partner versus husband and wife. And they're in a 200-year-old farmhouse, and the property was so gorgeous. They have an outdoor cat that is now theirs from the previous owners, named Meatball, an 11-year-old German Shepherd that was like in the backyard, and like it was so sweet and magical, and like so reflector. Riley's a Virgo and Mac is a Pisces, St. Patrick's Day Pisces. And so it was just like a match made in astrological heaven for sure. And it was just like so calm and serene and just like the perfect indication for them, where I was like, I love this. And it did make me more excited for mine, and just kind of thinking about like planning and what we want to do and figuring out like, okay, what are some other options? Like as we go to other weddings and kind of observe what other people do, it like allows you to kind of see like, oh, like I didn't realize I had permission to do that. But yeah, that actually is so much more chill and exciting versus like doing something. Because of course I'm Aquarius rising, right? So, and Aquarius, Mars and Mercury. And so like with all that activity in Aquarius, I'm like, I want to do something because I have a 4th house in Taurus that's somewhat traditional, but also like a unique spin on tradition. So yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right. I know. And Riley is a 5/1 also, and a 3rd grade teacher. So, and an astrologer as well. So it was like, it was so perfect. They're right on a river, and then there's like farmland across the street, but they're also super close to like the main kind of highway. So they're not like totally desolate. The wedding was like 3 hours away from my house, and I drove there and back in the same day, but it was so nice out and the weather was so nice, and I was like really comfortable in the dress that I wore, that I was like, oh, this is like actually perfect. I shared on Instagram, hi bunches, hello and goodbye. I'm gonna get off in like 5 minutes, but it's good to see you briefly. Happy Saturday and happy Easter if you celebrate. I was just talking about my reflector friend's wedding that I had gone to on Thursday. And it was great because Thursday was Jupiter Day, ruled by Jupiter, like the day of luck and expansion. And Riley had off from school for this week because of Easter and spring break. So it was like such perfect timing. So it was very, very sweet. And yeah, we've been slowly planning. I mean, it's so like looking at like traditional venues, like so many of them, even for like the food that you get there, like, cause food is really important for me, cause my cognition is one of my strongest senses, taste. Like the taste of the food is really important to me. So like, I don't like to just like get the traditional penne vodka New Jersey wedding food experience, you know? Oh, thank you. Setting a place explains the art and the soft music in the environment. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. I'm like, I always need to set the tone and the vibe, and also very like reflective of my caves environment and human design, right? Like that connection. But yeah, I appreciate that. That's why I love like earthy. I would have more plants, but I have a 15-pound 4-year-old cat that loves to attack everything green because he was an outside boy for a couple weeks before his human mom, his official mom, had picked him up. So he's somewhere in the other part of my house here, relaxing in the shadows. Usually I have a little heating pad set up, and I had the slider door open because it's so nice out today. And he'll sit on the heating pad and like get the breeze from the slider door. It was very cute. There's a very cute video that I took. I'll probably share on Instagram of him rolling around on his back with his belly all out, all splayed out, like very cozy. So, and I was also looking, something else that I kind of want to add it on my to-do list, is that there's a lot of like babies, like possum babies, skunk babies, foxes, deer, turkeys, like around here. And there's an animal like rehabilitation center that's like 40 minutes from my house. And I was like, I kind of want to volunteer. Like they needed volunteers, and I had to put in another call, but like I want to volunteer there like for a couple hours, or like 2 to 4 hours a day or two a week. To like feed them, and like I just, yeah, like that's that as a Pisces too, like helping animals and just like making my animal's life as good as it possibly can be in my space is also like a way that gives gives faith back into humanity a little bit through animals, right? And I love that they're just so unconditionally loving and so like deserving of that. Like not all humans deserve animals, right? But if they can experience the love of animals and treat them nice, right? I know. Yeah, I love giving back to the animals too. And I'm like, I'm always like a donator for things like that, but I also just like I feel like donating time and hands when I have it and I have the flexibility of my schedule to do that is also something that I was interested in. It reminded me too, because Riley's mom, my friend's wedding that I went to, is a vet. And so she was saying that like Riley was making meatballs when they saw a meatball in their backyard and didn't realize that there was a cat that came with the house. And she had frostbite on her ear. And I'm like, how can you see that it's so cold? And like they have this house had like a separate sunroom. I'm like, I know maybe people can be allergic or whatnot, but I'm like, how can you not like put a heating pad or like heat in there where like her poor little ear got like frostbite and it's like black on like the tip of it. I don't know. I'm just like, that's why the first thing that I did when we were eating dinner at Riley's house, and it was like a potluck style like celebration after their elopement. And I like, but I said bunches. Meatball came like sniffing around for food, and there was like I had like a ham and Swiss like slider, and I took out the ham and I like ripped it up on a piece, not on a plate, for Meatball and like put it behind the cooler, so she had like her own little private like ham to like eat with us. And I'm like, this is why my mom has like 5 cats. My parents have 5 cats, because of that. So. I just gave a Piscean client of mine a remedy for her Saturn placements. Volunteer for a pet shelter. I love that. It clears karma per Hindu principles. Oh, I love that. Yes, and I'm a Pisces Saturn too. I'm just finishing my Saturn return. I'm 31, a 94 baby. So yeah, I feel that, and have Saturn conjunct my sun. So that tracks. I feel that in a past life, like I can feel that I was definitely like, I feel like really privileged, and not to say that I haven't experienced a lot of privilege in this lifetime too. There definitely was like the emotional like aspect where like that was kind of lacking in my life, or from a place of like, needing that as someone who has so much Pisces and being a Pisces. And, I could see how that would be like a reversal from like past life karma too. So I love that you talk about that. That's even that alone is like interesting for a piece of content. Like I'm like, oh, tell me more about that. But yeah, that would be cool. And thank you for sharing that, because I'm glad it's a good validation and synchronicity for me. So thank you. But with that being said, I'm going to hop off for the night. It was so nice to meet you, Darian. I'm so glad that you're a part of our crew. Bunches, it was so nice to see you. Nini and Chris and Lisa, Lizette, thank you, as well as Leticia, who signed off a little earlier. And thank you to whoever else is here that I may not have seen, or if I can't see who's in here based on username like I can on TikTok. So I'm not ignoring you intentionally. I can only see who has messaged me in the chat. But I will be back on Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time to do YouTube Live again. So you know where to find me. And then on Thursday and Friday, actually just Thursday, maybe Friday, maybe on Friday a little bit earlier this week, but definitely Thursday, I'll be on TikTok live. So you guys know where to find me. If you have any other questions or anything else, any suggestions, you have some content that you can binge on my YouTube channel for the Gate series in the meantime. I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm happy to have made your ice cream scoopable. But I love you guys. I'll see you later, and hope you have a beautiful